Boston Bruins.
From Port St. Lucie, Florida, the spring training home of the National League champion New York Mets, it's the Red Sox and the Mets in Grapefruit League action as we welcome you to Tradition Field. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Dave O'Brien, along with the Rem Dog, Jerry Remy. And, Jerry, at this time of spring training, it seems like guys are fighting for jobs routinely, not often starting positions, but that is the case with the Boston Red Sox with the emergence of Travis Shaw and Pablo Sandoval now battling for his job.
Well, Dave, I think the biggest story of the spring has been the play of Travis Shaw, and he has been outstanding both at first base and at third base, and all of a sudden he is in the picture for third base. John Farrell made it very clear that there's competition right now at that position, and Sandoval knows it. He knows that he has to perform and impress his coaches, his teammates, everybody else to get that position back. So Shaw's in an excellent spot right now. He's hitting over 400 all spring long. He's playing very good defense at third base, and it looks like right now this is going to go right down to the wire who may be the opening day starter.
So today, Shaw in the lineup. He is at third base. David Price was supposed to be here in the rotation today, but because of weather issues, he was left behind in Fort Myers. But it's the Red Sox and the New York Mets in the Grapefruit League. We'll have the lineup in the first pitch coming up in just a moment here on NESN. Lucie, Florida. Dave O'Brien and Jerry Remy with you. There was a threat of rain all throughout the morning and right up until game time, this game to start in just a couple of moments. That's the major reason that David Price was left behind and pitched in a minor league game and was supposed to be up against Noah Syndergaard today. I know a lot of us are very disappointed. It's the smart move to make with the forecast, but when you get a chance to see Price and Syndergaard any time of the year, even in spring training, you look forward to that.
I agree with that, Dave. It's too bad, but the fact is the weather prediction over here was not good at all, and they didn't want to take the chance of having David Price make the trip, maybe pitch 2 innings and have this game rained out because of some thunderstorms passing through the area. So the wise choice was to leave him back in Fort Myers where the weather is okay, get to throw in a minor league game, and then continue on his path to opening day. So a little bit of a change in the rotation, but the fact is Price will get his work in today.
So the Red Sox instead will turn to right-hander Heath Hembree. The 6'4" righty will at least pitch a couple of innings today, John Farrell says, and then turn it over to the bullpen from there. The Red Sox took a rain-shortened 3-1 victory over St. Louis yesterday at JetBlue. And for more, let's go to Garen Austin.
Thanks, Dave. As you guys mentioned, David Price was scheduled to be pitching today. Instead, due to the threat of the weather that's looking kind of iffy right now, they decided to keep him in Fort Myers, and he did pitch in an inter-squad minor league game. He threw 76 pitches in 5 innings, and he struck out 8 along the way. Now, for Red Sox fans, the next chance they will get to see him in a Grapefruit League action on the mound will be next Friday against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and of course that game will be on NESN. Here's Price on his outing today.
Location and command was pretty good. I didn't think my stuff was that good today, but I got my work in. Got up 5 times. I think 5, maybe 6. I'm not really sure, but just getting through that part of spring.
Comments, David Price, 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. His standards very, very high. We thought he pitched very well against the Yankees on one of our NESN broadcasts last week, but he was like, I felt like I pitched better my last time out. And obviously he has extraordinarily high expectations for himself.
He certainly does, and that's what it means to be an ace on a team, Dave. You're the kind of guy that is going to be calm, relaxed, be a leader for everybody else in the rotation, and that's exactly what David Price has been since being in a Red Sox uniform. There's Heath Embry loosening up to start this game. This is the beginning of a 3-game road trip for the Red Sox. 1 game here in Port St. Lucie, and then a couple of games over in Jupiter over the next 2 nights. So they're going to have buses going back and forth for the next couple of days. Some members of the club will be staying here for the 3 days. Others will be shuttling back and forth. So it's kind of a rough stretch for them right now, because when you're on the road in spring training, you don't get a lot of work done.
And, of course, on Friday against the Pittsburgh Pirates, all of these are NESN games, by the way, 6 o'clock. That's when David Price is scheduled to work next. And, part of the excitement about even a spring training game, as meaningless sometimes as the results can be, the pitching results are not. And how a guy works now moving into this part of the Grapefruit League gets more and more important. And the opportunity to see him against a guy with the talent level of a Noah Syndergaard, who could win a Cy Young Award in the National League. The Mets have tremendous starting pitching. He was 9-7 last year. They're going to be as good as their starting pitching in 2016. That could mean really good because of someone like Syndergaard. And you know that Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts, Travis Shaw, and the other guys in this lineup were probably looking forward to getting a chance to face him, because the Red Sox faced him last year in New York, took 2 out of 3 in that series at Citi Field. I thought, Jerry, that particular series, particularly for the younger guys, meant a lot, that they were able to go in there, hit them, hang with them, a team that eventually went to the World Series, tremendous pitching staff. It was a confidence booster for a team that didn't have a whole lot to play for at that time.
You're right, and that was the one impressive thing about the Red Sox at the end of last season, was the fact that they were able to remain competitive with some of these very good ball clubs like the Mets, as you were speaking about. And that was a tribute, really, to the Red Sox young players, who stepped forward and really improved over the last half of the season, which kept the attitude on the ball club as a positive one instead of a negative one, being so far out of first place.
Of course, there are 2 other big studs, Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom, part of that 3-headed monster that the Mets have. Red Sox eager to take the field here. A slight delay, and the forecast is calling for some hit-and-miss showers as you get a look at the Mets from last season. deGrom and Harvey, Syndergaard, and Motz, who is another guy in the mix in their rotation. But, I mean, those top 3 guys, any one of them could win the National League Cy Young Award.
And that's why the Mets picked number 1 in their division, because of their starting pitching.
Now the Mets taking the field here. Opening day just 15 days away for the Red Sox in Cleveland against the Indians on the 4th of April. And here's a look at the Red Sox starting lineup against Syndergaard. It'll be Brock Holt in left field leading things off today. Having a good spring. Dustin Pedroia at second base. Xander Bogaerts is the shortstop, trying to get that bat going. He's hitting 179 so far for the spring. Travis Shaw, the story right now. Will he be the opening day third baseman for the Red Sox? Chris Young is in right. David Murphy, the DH. Ryan Hannigan does the catching with Rusney Castillo in center field. And Sam Travis, who's been tearing the cover off the ball, hitting .600 for the Grapefruit League, is at first base. And facing Syndergaard, the 6'6", 240-pounder. Most of that's hair. And overpowering stuff, Jerry, with a blazing fastball.
Yeah, he really can throw hard. And he'll move that ball between a cross-seam fastball, a two-seam fastball, heavy baseball that he throws, and very, very nasty. Look at his numbers for the 2015 season, 9-7, the 3.24 ERA. Now let's look at the Mets defense this afternoon. David Wright will be at third base. Matt Reynolds, the shortstop. Neil Walker at second. And Lucas Duda, the first baseman. Left to right, Juan Lagares, Yoenis Cespedes, and Curtis Granderson. And Travis d'Arnaud doing the catching for Syndergaard.
Now Cespedes in center field, briefly a member of the Boston Red Sox. And in center field today, as you look at the umpires, good young umpire here. They're raving about this gentleman, Ramon De Jesus, who was in the minor leagues last year, has been promoted to the majors. Gary Cederstrom at first, Toby Basner at second base, and Nick Lentz will make the calls at third. And a look at the forecast. It's been a little gloomy today, but starting to break up somewhat, 77 degrees. The wind out to right at 5 miles per hour, and a chance of thunderstorms in this part of Florida today and later on tonight.
Tell you what, Dave, it didn't look too good this morning. I got to the ballpark about 8 o'clock, and all the way up here from Palm Gardens, it was pouring rain. And then once it got here, it had stopped. So, and it has not rained since. So that's good news. Hopefully we'll get the 9 in today, and certainly the Red Sox begin this 3-day road trip under, well, questionable skies.
Brock Holt ready to dig in. 333 for the spring with a homer and 3 runs batted in. Certainly looking like he's ready to begin 2016. Do you find that the hitters are out in front of the pitchers most of the spring anyway as far as readiness for opening day?
I don't think so in the first couple of weeks. I think the pitchers have an advantage, but I think all is equal right now. And I think pitchers...
Ground ball to first. Duda will dig that for a quick out. 1 man gone.
I think pitchers right now, Dave, are getting into that, when they're extending themselves to 80 to 90 pitches, getting into that form for the season. And I think it all kind of evens out about this time.
Well, here's Dustin Pedroia in the lineup today at second base. 296 for the spring. And a 299 career hitter. He's batted 304 times. 2007 as American League Rookie of the Year. Hit 317 that year. 326 in 08. That was his MVP year. And most recently in 2013, he hit 301.
But the outfield really shallow against Dustin Pedroia. Cespedes in center field. Granderson in right field. Very, very shallow.
Xander Bogaerts on deck as we get underway. They do have the lights on here.
Whatever lights they have, they look like spotlights, don't they?
Not much. Syndergaard with a 1-1. He can get that fastball into the 98-99 range. Very easy, smooth delivery. And a great future in front of him. He's only 23 years old. A ball and 2 strikes on Pedroia. Just missed. Well, he started off the mound. He thought he had a strikeout.
Yeah, he was waiting for them to throw the ball around the infield and get it with 2 outs. But no, not called a strike. Call for being just outside. But Syndergaard certainly thought that he had that for strike 3.
He finally does there on the off-speed pitch. d'Arnaud will have to throw on to get him, and the first strikeout of the ball game, 2 away.
Now you look at the strikeouts for Syndergaard in his first couple of outings. You see the last season 166, most among major league rookies. So far in the 2 outings he's had against St. Louis and Miami this spring, he's got a total of 5 strikeouts, and that's in 6 2/3.
He is not afraid to bring a little chin music. You throw that hard, you want to move somebody's feet, get him off the plate. He's not bashful about that as Xander takes one in there for a strike. A little chilly so far for the spring. 179, no homers, 2 runs batted in. He's 5 for 28. Bases empty and 2 out for the Sox here in the first inning. 1-1. Now the Mets just eager to play. They were rained out yesterday. And this one rain threatened. Red Sox coming in at 7-12 so far in the Grapefruit League, as that one is tapped foul by Bogaerts. Travis Shaw on deck. And all eyes on him right now, on Shaw, with an outstanding spring and the opportunity to be an everyday player at third base. Red Sox are not shying away from that prospect. I think to his credit, Pablo Sandoval isn't either. He came out today and said, I know he's having a really good spring. He's a great kid. You know, I wish him well, but I'm trying to win a job, and I know I have to.
Well, it sounds like the Red Sox, you know, are obviously going with the hot hand right now. And the hot hand right now is Travis Shaw.
High chopper. Walker has to back up to the outfield. Throw off balance. Going to be close, and he got him at first base. Bouncing the throw in time. So the Red Sox go 1-2-3. The Mets coming up here. And Heath Hemry will be doing the pitching today, the right-hander, at least at the start. Here's a look at the Met lineup. It'll be Curtis Granderson in right field, David Wright at third base, Yoenis Cespedes in center, Lucas Duda at first base, Neil Walker second, Wilmer Flores the DH, Travis d'Arnaud is doing the catching, Juan Lagares in left, and Matt Reynolds is the shortstop. And batting ninth against Hemry, 6'4", 210-pounder. Not originally scheduled to make this appearance. It was going to go to David Price, of course, as we detailed. Pitched in 22 games for the Red Sox last year and went 2-0. And now Granderson, who's a power threat, and he'll take strike one. And back to the Pablo Sandoval and Travis Shaw scenario and how that may play out. Been a bit of a rough defensive spring, obviously, for the Pandas. Made a couple of errors. Shaw has looked pretty smooth over there. He's also played first base, and you know, John Farrell, Jerry, has talked about playing him in the outfield a little bit here in these days of spring to enhance his value. But John also said very pointedly, you know, he's not just a utility guy, and kind of counseling everybody that that's not going to be his only role potentially on this team. And he's been sort of leading up to the comments that Sandoval made today, and when he was, I think, very candid about fighting for his job.
Yeah, and you know, to be honest about it, Sandoval did not come in camp in good shape. I think that surprised a lot of people that did not happen after coming off what was a poor season last year for him. He gets challenged here in spring training, so he needs a push, and maybe this push will get him going in the right direction. And you're right, Davey has not had a good spring, and Travis Shaw has had a good spring, so he has opened their eyes and said, look, there's other options we have to go here at third base, and he might be it.
Big shift on here for Granderson with a count of 1-2 and a new bat. Look, the Red Sox are trying to win quickly.
They have to. They have to. After the last couple of seasons, it's imperative that this club get off to a good start.
So if Travis Shaw is the hot bat and he's playing better defense and he's swinging a better bat, flare down the line, Holt on the move, plenty of room for Brock, and he'll make the catch. One man out. David Wright is next. Yeah, he's really been a heart and soul of the New York Mets and battling a lot of back problems. He just recently got his first couple of at-bats of spring training. Held to 38 games last year because of that back. Turned 33 in December, and the big question is, can he get into the lineup for 500 at-bats this year? How much can he play?
And talking about possibility playing maybe 4 out of 7 days a week. If he had the surgery on his back, he'd be out of baseball.
It was really one of the feel-good stories of last year that he was able to play in the World Series against Kansas City after playing so little during the regular season. He's a very popular player, extremely well-liked, both inside the Met organization and out. I've known David a long time. Knew him when he came up with the Mets, and I was doing their weekend games with Tom Seaver, and he was just breaking in, and as classy a young player as I've ever met at that time. Yanked foul, 2-1.
Well, he almost has the same type of following for the Mets as Derek Jeter had with the Yankees. I mean, that's how much the Met fans love David Wright.
Yep, a career-long Met. Almost a 300 hitter in his career with power. Up the middle, Bogarts with a smooth stop behind the bag. 2 down. Now back to the Sox for a second on John Farrell. I mean, another thing that John has talked about, I think very candidly in the last couple of days, and you and I have discussed it on this broadcast several times this spring. How is he going to manage? And he said, I'm going to manage absolutely with a sense of urgency. And to me, what that says, among other things, is if you got to play for an early run, if you can play and get on the board right away, even if it's a little against your team's personality and the sluggers, so to speak, if you have a chance to bunt a guy over, move someone into scoring position, give yourself up and drive that run in, you got to do it. And John Farrell senses that.
Well, we've seen many examples in games that we have done where that has not happened, so far this spring, and it should be happening on a regular basis. And those are things that you have to carry into the season with you to be a successful team.
Cespedes skies a pop off first base. Travis giving it a look, but it's off into the stands.
I mean, we've done games where they've had bases loaded, cannot get a run in, where they've had men at second base, we're not able to move them over, man at third base with nobody out, and strikeouts come. And, you can't have that kind of stuff with your offense and be able to control a baseball game. So there are question marks. I mean, there are question marks, I think, in the pitching staff. There are question marks, on the field now with the Travis Shaw situation. The bullpen has looked very, very good for the most part.
The 0-2 to Cespedes. Fly to right field. And Young started back and now to his left to make the catch and retire the side. So a good start for Heath Hembree as he gets the Mets in order. We have one scoreless inning in the books and not a drop of rain. 0-0 here at Port St. Lucie. Sox nothing and the Mets nothing. And Red Sox spring training on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Red Sox facing one of the best in the National League today in the youngster Noah Syndergaard. Mets team that went to the World Series. Heath Hembree off to a nice 1-2-3 start. Of course, they would lose in the October Classic to the Kansas City Royals. But it was an unexpected run, particularly given the fact that the Mets were a really horrible offensive team for about half of last season. And they got Cespedes, and everything seemed to change. And here's Travis Shaw, batting .419 for the spring, 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. Jerry, he looks comfortable.
Yeah, he certainly does. I mean, he's picked up exactly where he left off last season for the Red Sox, moving the ball all over the ballpark with power. We've seen some teams shift on him, but that's not the case with the Mets. They are playing him to pull in the infield, but they do not have the shift on.
Chris Young on deck, then David Murphy in the Sox lineup today. It's 4, 5, and 6 against Syndergaard, and the 1-1 just missed.
I think one of the reasons you don't see the shift on with Syndergaard on the mound is because he throws so hard. That last fastball at 97 miles an hour.
Got a piece, inflicted foul. And one of the things the Red Sox are looking at, of course, is, and there's Terry Collins, the manager of the New York Mets, did a fine job last year. Kind of reinvented himself in many respects. Guy who had become a coach for a long time and returning to the manager's chair, and he's done a nice job. Just missed again, according to DeJesus, and the count goes to 3-2. One of the things the Red Sox look at is what they did with Shaw in the lineup last year, and they went 32-23 when he started. And regardless of position, waved at and missed, and down he goes. Second strikeout for Syndergaard.
And again, it's the fastball at 97. This went up and away from Shaw. And if there is a weak spot in Shaw's swing, it is the ball up in the zone. And that ball up and away from him, and you can see the swing and miss right there. No contact on that fastball.
So one gone. Chris Young is in right field today for the Red Sox, hitting .208 with 1 home run so far in the Grapefruit League. The Red Sox are fortunate in that Young, they have an outfielder. They can move around all 3 spots. He can play anywhere out there.
And he's done it here in the spring, Dave, and he's done well in all 3. Right field, center field, left field. It's a little unfair right there. After 97, you see a breaking ball, a slider down and away from Young. Awfully tough to keep the shoulder in on a pitch like that.
Yeah, he has a knee buckling breaking ball and a very good changeup too. Swing and a miss, and down goes Young. 2 down.
He stays with the breaking ball that time to pick up the strikeout against Young. So you're thinking about that fastball that he has, that overpowering fastball. Then he can go to that pitch right there, and that makes it a little bit unfair, especially for right-handed hitters.
Well, now David Murphy is battling for a spot. He's the DH here this afternoon. .292, no homers, and 3 runs batted in. He'll take one downstairs for ball 1. Ryan Hannigan doing the catching today. He's on deck. No score in the second inning. Now the Mets have drawn a very good crowd here to Tradition Field. They're drawing very well, as they should, with the team they're putting on the field and the excitement around them. They really grab the city of New York far more than the Yankees did last summer. Rattled to right, but underneath that glove and off into left field. Veteran third baseman could not make the play, and Murphy is on.
Yeah, interesting scoring here, because that is a ball that Wright could have had. That ball went underneath the glove as Murphy takes to the opposite field. Now you'll see Wright come across, and he's in a position to make that play, but just It looked like he couldn't bend down enough to be able to make it. I mean, those back issues that he has, I mean, they have to be painful, not only swinging the bat, but also playing defense.
Very, very serious back condition. They will rule that a base hit. So it's the first hit of the ball game for either side. And here's Hannigan knocking one down the line. Granderson on the move, and he can't get it. Onto the warning track up against the fence. Murphy chugging into third, and Butterfield will wave him in. Going to be a play at the plate. The tag, and he is out at home. And that is out number 3. Granderson dug it out on the warning track and gunned in. And he is cut down at home plate. Murphy unable to score, and Hannigan with a 2-base hit, but does not produce a run, and we are scoreless in the second.
Here, Mets and Red Sox, and the Red Sox have a run cut down at the plate. Now, normally with 2 outs, you're going to take that chance as a third base coach, and we've seen over the last couple of years that Butterfield's very aggressive at third base, and that's exactly what he tries to do here. But a very good relay. Granderson getting the ball in the outfield as it rattles around the wall, gets it into the cutoff man, and they're able to get the play at the plate and get Murphy by quite a bit. Now, Murphy does not run very well as he was going around third, but, you know, the odds go down. When there's 2 outs, it's usually 50-50 for a third base coach. You know, that's the opportunity. With 1 out, it's usually 75%. With nobody out, it's 100% that you got to be able to score.
And well executed by the Mets there. Lucas Duda will lead things off here in the bottom of the second for New York against Heath Hembree, who got him 1-2-3 in the first. Hit sharply and off the glove of Travis. A backup here by Pedroia. The pitcher getting there in time. Boy, Hembree never gave up on it. Neither did Pedroia. In deep and foul ground, he made a terrific play to cut the runner Duda down at first base.
He really did, and I didn't think Hembree was going to be able to get to the bag. It was kind of a late break for him, but he did get there. There's the contact right down the first base side. Now look at Hembree, how slow he starts to go to first base, but he still wins the race on Duda, who does not run well. Pedroia right on the foul line in foul territory, makes a nice flip to Hembree covering first base to get the out. Well played by Pedroia and Hembree, even though Hembree got a late jump off the mound.
So your classic 3-4-1. You put that in the book every day. Just like that. Here's Neil Walker hitting .269, 16 home runs last year for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now Pedroia ever alert. And an off-balance kind of sidearm chuck by Pedroia to get that out. Very well done. In there for a called strike on Walker.
You know, the good thing about it, too, is Hembree, even though he was late coming off the mound, got a good route to the bag going to first base, so he was kind of going toward Pedroia instead of cutting across the side, which gave him a chance to make that catch on the flip from Dustin.
Hembree fortunate he got there a solid step in front of the runner Duda, who's a big guy. And there was no collision on the play. I think that's why you saw Petey smiling a little bit after the out was completed. That everybody was okay. No one got bowled over there. But, you know, that could have been a very dangerous play, and there's no way around it. Walker acquired from the Pirates in a trade, bringing the Mets a switch-hitting second baseman with some pop in his bat. He fouls that one into the crowd. The Mets are not expected to be a very good defensive team. They made a good play today on the relay from Granderson and Walker, but they are expected to be one of the weaker defensive teams in the National League. And we saw David Wright having some difficulty getting down on a ball that could have been ruled an error. It was ruled a hit instead. That one bounced up there and right into the face mask of DeJesus and knocked it sideways.
Pitch of Hembree bouncing, and it looked like right up above the right shoulder of Ryan Hannigan and knocked the mask off DeJesus.
He's up from AAA, and the reviews on him are very, very good as he breaks into the big leagues. 3-2, just missed a little high. Hannigan held it there for an extra moment, but it's ball four, so Walker is on. And that'll send up the red-hot Wilmer Flores. Jerry, how about this story about Adam LaRoche, which is gaining more and more steam? And it's all over the place now. It's absolutely exploded. The Chicago White Sox player walked away from a final year, $13 million, because the ball club and Kenny Williams, the general manager, who seems to have really put himself in a lot of hot water over this thing, told him that his 14-year-old son, Drake, was essentially not welcome in the clubhouse anymore. And depending on who you listen to, either players like Chris Sale, for example, one of LaRoche's teammates, was really angry about this and blasted the general manager. He said the wrong guy walked out the door.
Yeah, that's pretty strong right there when you're talking about your general manager, but not going over very big at all with the players. And the Red Sox are talking about how they try to create a family atmosphere, but there is a certain time where kids have to be removed from the clubhouse so they can get prepared for a game. But, you know, to come out early to the ballpark with their dads and be around is all fine. But, you know, when it comes time for work to be done, that's the time that it all stops. And, you know, I think more and more teams are taking that approach. But obviously not the Chicago White Sox, and that did not go very big with anybody.
Well, Terry Francona was very, very much pro-family when he was managing the Red Sox. He had players' kids around all the time. He loved it. He had been brought up that way with his dad as a major league player. He was always in clubhouses as well. The Players Union is thinking about getting involved because there's been some intimation that there was a promise for LaRoche, nice block here by Hannigan, that the club promised that he would be allowed to have his son with him virtually all the time, and that they went back on that promise. And that's one of the things Chris Sale was charging with, that there were lies here, and that the general manager, Ken Williams, lied about the sequence of events and who said what to who and what was promised and all of those things. And we'll see where it goes from here. But he can't feel great about walking into that clubhouse these days. That's inside for ball four, so Hembree has suddenly lost the plate, back-to-back walks.
Yeah, Williams has kind of lost his team right now, hasn't he? I mean, he's got everybody, just about everybody in that clubhouse against him because of the move that he made. Not exactly a nice way to start the season in Chicago.
Yeah, I guess their spring training had gone pretty well until this point. And this has exploded everywhere, this story. And it raises all sorts of questions about, you know, the family game of baseball and the tradition of the game, and when is it appropriate to have your kids in the clubhouse. I think there's a major difference between most people's offices and Major League Baseball clubhouses. Two men on, and a high fly to dead center field here by d'Arnaud. Well hit, backing up Castillo, but he has room and will make the catch on the edge of the track, and the runners have to return to first and second. d'Arnaud does have some power, 12 home runs last year in limited duty. And left that one short, and there are 2 gone.
That's an interesting play by Walker at second base, and it was the correct play because on a fly ball that's deep like that, questionable, you play it halfway because with 1 out, you want to be sure you can score if the ball drops in. With nobody out on a play like that, you go back and tag up. So to make sure you get to third base with 1 out. So that's one there that the runner at second base, it looks like a bad play, but it's not the bad play. It's the right play to make. So he remains at second base.
2 down. Hembree trying to get out of this jam and facing the 8-hitter Juan Lagares, the left fielder today. Very good outfielder. And blocked again by Hannigan. Lagares probably their best outfielder. Athletic, very energetic. Hit .259 with 6 home runs last year in 43 games. Hembree, who's been a closer in the minor leagues, delivers the 1-0. And right through there for a strike.
Longest Hembree's gone in a game this spring is 2 innings. And he did that in a win against the Baltimore Orioles earlier this spring. Every other appearance has been 1 inning.
Red Sox got him from the San Francisco Giants in exchange for Jake Peavy in 2014. In tight at the hands.
And again, you can see Hannigan trying to frame that pitch on the inside part of the plate, but De Jesus, the home plate umpire, not falling for it.
Walker at second, Flores at first base with 2 out. And the 2-1. All even now on Lagares. I really did wake up this morning thinking, oh, David Price, Noah Syndergaard, I can't wait to get to the ballpark. And then when you get here and you realize, oh, David's not pitching today. He stayed back in Fort Myers because of the weather. You know, the reasonable side of you, the baseball side, because that makes all the sense in the world. That's a great move. You don't want to bring him here and not have him pitch. Or, you know, throw 18 pitches and have to leave because of rain. But the fan in you goes, I feel like I got gypped outside for a ball.
Well, you know, the fortunate thing for you is, Obi, you'll get to see him all season long. You know, that's the good thing. And
yeah.
You flew all the way from Connecticut to get down here to do this game today. So I can understand your disappointment.
That's why I feel like I didn't even get peanuts on the flight. Although that sounds like whining now. 3-2. Runners will be on the move with 2 down. There they go. And fouled away by Lagares as he hangs in there. Flying is just not what it used to be.
No, not quite. You can go around the world without getting peanuts.
You can almost go around the world without getting a meal of any kind these days. And if your bag makes it wherever you're going, you know, you hit your knees. 3-2, runners take off again. It's inside. He's really gotten wild here, and that's ball 4 that'll load the bases on walks. In front of the 9-hitter, Matt Reynolds.
3 walks in the inning for Hembree. He'll be very lucky if he gets out of this mess.
Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. And by Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Now, no score here in the second inning, but the Mets putting up a big-time threat. They have loaded them up just by being patient. Hembree walking Walker, Flores, and now Lagares. And there is no place to put Matt Reynolds now, the shortstop. As mentioned, in the minor leagues, Hembree has been a closer, so he has gotten used to high anxiety situations. Let's see if he can get out of this. And the first one, strike one. Walker at third, Flores at second, Lagares at first base. And the 0-1. Right to the shortstop, Bogarts. And a shovel, close play, and got him at second base to retire the side. That was really close. But the Red Sox get out of it. Hembree, despite the walk on the wild side, does not allow a run. It was a fine play by Petey in that inning as well. And after two, it's 0-0. Top of the third, 0-0 here, and NESN Clubhouse will be back for its third season this year. Don't miss it Sundays on NESN, 90 minutes before the first pitch. Visit NESNClubhouse.com for cool games and to learn more about the show. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien with you from Tradition Field, spring training home of the New York Mets, where hopes are very, very high, as they certainly are at Fenway Park. For 2016, Syndergaard gave up 2 hits last inning. David Murphy with a base hit. Ryan Hanning with a double down the right field line, but Murphy was thrown out trying to score on a play at home plate. And the Mets just loaded the bases, but they failed to score.
And they almost did score because that play at second base was very, very close with Pedroia making the stretch on an underhand flip from Bogarts.
Rusney Castillo eyes a strike.
Last play of last inning. I thought Bogarts maybe should have probably thrown that ball from the side instead of underhanding the ball to Petey. He was underhanded it to him, but it made it very close.
Really close. It looked like he got him. Sam Travis on deck. And then Brock Holtz. And a ball outside. At this point in spring training, what are you working on as a middle infielder?
Well, you know, I think because they've been together for so long now, a year, that, there's not really that much of learning to be done.
Fly to center, dead away. Cespedes there. And on the back pedal makes the catch for out number 1.
You know, they've got a good rapport from what they did a year ago and also what they've done all spring training now. So I think it's a matter of just basically for both of them, it's not so much the defense right now. It's getting the offense on track. A guy like Bogarts has struggled this spring offensively. He'd like to see that going in the right direction. I think Pedroia has certainly improved over his last 4 or 5 games offensively. But defensively, they should have that down pretty well.
Now, one of the real interesting stories of the spring right now is Sam Travis, the first baseman, hitting .600. I mean, you want to take the cell phone right now and take a picture of that batting average. .600, 2 homers, 13 runs batted, and he's 15 for 25 for the spring, leading the Red Sox in hits, RBIs, and on-base percentage. Tried to hold up but couldn't do it.
Now here's the guy that really has made an impression in spring training, San Francisco. 13 RBI in limited at bats.
Hard hit. Reynolds gobbles it up and gets him. 2 up and 2 down. And back up to the top of the order now, and Brock Holt, who is 0 for 1. Many are predicting that the Mets are the favorite in the National League. Given how good their young pitching is and was last year, it's hard to argue against them. They let postseason hero Daniel Murphy go to sign with Washington. Michael Kadire retired, but then they re-signed Yoenis Cespedes. And they should have the talent once again to vie with Washington for the National League title.
And their offense should be a little bit better, I think, this year than what it has been for a lot of last season. And Cespedes, really one of the reasons that this team got ignited toward the end of the year. He made a huge difference for him.
There was some talk, as hot as he was and how he had carried that club, you know, in July, August, and September, that he was an MVP candidate. That talk may have gone a little bit too far, but he had such an impact on the Mets and turning them around offensively. They went from a bad offensive team to a pretty good offensive team because of him. Yeah,
it's amazing how one guy, you stick him in the middle of the lineup like Cespedes, can make that difference with everybody else. All of a sudden, the pressure's off the other guys.
1-2 to Holt. Bounding ball and an unfriendly hop, but Duda gets that and makes the play at first base to retire the side. So Syndergaard breezes through the inning, and at the end of 2.5, still dry here at Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie. It's 0-0. Go to the bottom of the third inning. Red Sox and the Mets 0-0. And NESN has a brand new site for car enthusiasts. NESN Fuel, your new home for everything automotive, including race recaps and much more. Visit NESNfuel.com and follow NESN Fuel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram today. Jerry Remy and Dave O'Brien with you. As we go to the last half of the third inning, it'll be the top of the order for the Mets and a new pitcher for the Red Sox. Noe Ramirez, the right-hander, who is 26 years old, 6'3", about 205 pounds. Saw him a bit last year, made 17 appearances, all out of the bullpen. So he follows up Heath Hembree, who went the first 2 innings. Got out of a jam after walking 3 men in the second inning. Then got the fielder's choice to get free of it.
Really unusual when you look at the infield setup for a leadoff guy in Granderson, how they have the shift on him. You don't see that very often for leadoff hitters.
It's a shift where you're asking Travis Shaw to move from third base over to what is the second base position.
Right. They hold Shaw until there's a strike on the other side, on the left side, in case there's a bunt. Once there's a strike, it's more unlikely that Granderson's going to bunt, so they put him in that position and move Bogaerts back to the shortstop position. They keep Pedroia in his lane, and that lane is the most active lane for Granderson's ground balls.
Granderson, a guy who strikes out frequently, flied out to left in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. And when buried, he signed a big $60 million contract 2 years ago, and initially he struggled to live up to that. But not last season when he hit 26 homers, and that's perhaps because the Mets went out and hired the former Yankee hitting coach. They were together with the Yankees, Kevin Long. Seems to have made all the difference. Hot shot down to scoop at Travis, and he'll get to the bag in plenty of time. One man gone. Do you have a favorite all-time hitting instructor? I mean, a guy that, day one, at any level, you clicked with, and you're like, oh, man, we think exactly alike.
Yeah, without question, it was Walter Reniak here with the Red Sox. He was fabulous. I mean, he was, he changed my swing around to a point where he kept me away from those 250 feet fly balls to more of a line drive ground ball type hitter. And he worked so hard, with everybody. He lived and died whether you did well or not. He couldn't sleep at night if the team didn't hit. He was so committed to what he did. He, without question, was the best that I ever had.
So he was a guy that looked at you as what you were and what you could do well.
Exactly. What was going to make me a better major league hitter than what I was the first 3 years with the Angels.
Instead of just saying, hey, we all have to hit the same way. Everyone's got to hit the same way. Same approach, same attack.
Now, he got criticized a lot because he had a lot of guys with the same type of stance, but yet I think that was a little bit unfair for him because he did make adjustments to different people.
1-1 to right. He won't chase it, and it's to the backstop.
He had a tremendous impact on the career of Dwight Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Dwight Evans really, really turned things around offensively under the tutelage of Reniak, Carlton Fisk, and a number of players. Yastrzemski was a loyal pupil.
You see in some organizations, it's just below the surface, but when a team really starts to hit, everyone's clicking on all cylinders, team scoring a ton of runs, hitting home runs as right cuts and misses. Sometimes the hitting coach becomes like he has a cult following. He becomes, in some ways, more popular than the manager. And I know a lot of organizations don't like when that happens, when the hitting coach starts to get all the credit. In the end, it's the guys with the bats in their hands. They've got to do it. 2-2. Check swing. Did he go? They appeal. And no, says Gary Cederstrom.
All I wanted out of a coach, was to understand me as a person and give me every bit of effort that he possibly has. And, that goes for a hitting coach, an infield coach, a base running coach, whatever it was. I didn't need somebody half in. I needed somebody there all the time for me, pushing me constantly to get the very best out of me.
3-2 on one hop. Scoop there at third. Nice play by Shaw, and throws on to get him. Nifty stab there because it wasn't absolutely scalded as Shaw went down to get it.
Yeah, I'm not sure Shaw even saw this ball. It looked like he was looking to his right when the ball went into the glove. Let's take another look at it. And was the head there or was it looking toward third base? It's very tough to tell on my monitor, but it looked to me like he was looking toward third base and the ball ended up in the glove.
Kind of spring he's having. Trying to win the third base job. 2 down. And here's Cespedes, 0 for 1 with a fly to left. He re-signed with the Mets after a run on the free agent market this winter, and Met fans rejoiced because of what he did last year. 35 homers, 105 runs batted in. He really drove the Met team to October. Coming over from Detroit, in there for a called strike. For a time member of the Red Sox, of course, but look at what he did with the Mets in 57 games, 17 home runs. And in 102, he hit 18 with the Detroit Tigers. Line shot and a base hit past Bogarts. So Cespedes is on. Is actually the first hit of the ball game for the New York Mets.
Now what you're doing with Cespedes with 2 outs is trying to keep him in the ballpark, and the Red Sox are able to do that. A pitch that stayed inside, and Cespedes cleans it out for the hard line drive base hit up over the jump of Bogarts at shortstop. But you get in those situations with 2 outs and Cespedes to the plate, you know he's trying to go deep, trying to hit a home run and get a quick run on the board. That time the Red Sox at least hold him to a single.
And the Sox will shift again with Pedroia playing shallow right field and Shaw over to the right side. So nobody there at home at third. And here's Duda. He hit a hard ground ball off of Travis, the first baseman, in the second inning. It ricocheted into foul ground. Pedroia scooted over very quickly, lightning quick, gobbled it up, fired to first base where Hembree, the pitcher, covered and beat the runner. Kind of an acrobatic out. Duda with excellent power, 27 home runs last year, and he goes for the downs there. And he has hit 57 home runs the last 2 seasons. A 0-0 game here in the bottom of the third inning, Red Sox and the Mets. Noe Ramirez, second man on the mound today for Boston. And a 1-1 to Duda. Two and one. Duda, you may recall, made a crucial errant throw in World Series Game 5 against Kansas City. That really lingered over the winter, so he wants to shake that off. That was a downer of a way to end last October for him. And is inside. 3-1. Cespedes getting a lead at first base, and the 3-1 pitch. Off the outside for ball 4. So that is the 4th walk issued by the Red Sox staff in the last 2 innings.
Yeah, the Red Sox right now very fortunate that there has not been a run scored against them. 4 walks in the game, along with just the 1 hit. But Hannigan quickly out to the mound to have some words with Ramirez and see what they can do with Walker here. Throw strikes and maybe get that final out of the inning.
Carlos Marmol has also made the trip, the right-hander, former Cub, and I think very, very intriguing about what he might bring. And one thing to watch when he gets into the game today is the radar gun. Red Sox want to see that tick up because he used to be a real hard throw. They need him throwing at least like 93, not 91, 92. He's got to get it up there, John Farrell said before the game, into that 93 range anyway. Here's Walker. He looks at strike 1. But he has a chance to land a spot in this bullpen. And if he can recall some of his better pitching days. He had some great years. That one disappeared, and the count quickly 0-2 on Walker. It was a switch hitter.
Yeah, something off speed that time by Ramirez, either the changeup or a breaking ball, but at 84 miles an hour, certainly had Walker fooled.
Cespedes at second and Duda at first. Walker, very upright stance, but with some power. Ground ball, and Bogaerts has to have it on the right side, and will toss on to first base for the out. So in the shift, Xander makes the play over there in the second base position. 2 men are left. So another threat by the Mets, but they don't score after 3. It's 0-0 at Tradition Field. In a 0-0 game here at Tradition Field, the home of the Mets, and don't miss out on Big Papi's final season by enjoying a game at Fenway Park. There are great tickets throughout the year still available to see David Ortiz. Get your tickets. Visit redsox.com/tickets or call 877 Red Sox 9 today. Papi did not make the trip here, but Dustin Pedroia did. He is 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning. And looking for a healthy 2016 up the middle. Walker behind second base, off balance, and got him. Made a fine play on that one for out number 1.
That's really a nice play by Walker, because that ball looked like it was going to hit the second base bag, and it bounced up and got him about chest high. See the ground ball going over the head right there of Syndergaard, and then almost hitting the second base bag. So a very, very good play right there on a tough hop by Walker at second base.
Here comes Xander Bogaerts, 0 for 1. He's tapped to second base. Jerry, you kind of touched on this, the relationship between Xander and Dustin Pedroia as the double play combination. The guys will be playing alongside each other as they did last year every single day, and what that means. And it's almost like a brother relationship. Watching these guys at Winter Weekend earlier in the off season, and how they interact and how they kind of jab at each other in a friendly way and a little sarcastic way like brothers do. It's really fun to watch. I mean, they both are very funny, and obviously Pedroia is hilarious. He had that entire room in the palm of his hand. He should do his own show.
Well, anybody that plays with Dustin Pedroia at shortstop is going to be loose and is going to be, have plenty of attention put on him, because that's just the way he is. And, I've always felt, and I've said this many, many times, that I think a lot of the times the work that goes into becoming a good combination is a little bit overrated, because when you get to this level, after being in pro ball for a number of years, you should be able to adjust fairly quickly to a new double play combination. It's just a matter of knowing, where the double play partner likes the ball, like where he likes to receive it, how he likes to receive it, what the speed is. Those things take a little bit of time, but not as much time as I think a lot of people think.
Now rocketed into left center field, a gap shot onto the grass, the track up against the fence. Bogaerts, with one of his better swings all spring, is into second base with a stand-up double. And he hit a shot. Second double of the game for the Red Sox off Syndergaard.
Yeah, Xander's showing very quick hands right there. Syndergaard, of course, the hard thrower, and Bogart's able to clear the head of the bat out. Let's see what the pitch is. It looked like a fastball out over the plate, and Bogart's able to kind of find that gap between left and center field, more towards center field. And by the time Cespedes tracks it down, Bogart's in scoring position. So the Red Sox now have 3 hits in the ball game, out hitting the Mets.
And an opportunity for Travis Shaw to continue to state his case to be the opening day third baseman. 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far today. Travis's dad, Jeff, had him in major league clubhouses all the time when Jeff was a big league pitcher. Into left, Lagares coming on and leaves it behind. Touching third now, Bogarts. He'll be in to score. Shaw back to first base, and the Red Sox are on the board 1-0. A sinking, slicing line drive. You knew at the crack of the bat that had a chance to be trouble. Lagares, a very good outfielder, but that ate him up.
Yeah, he did slip a little bit last year, but normally very, very good out there in the outfield. But this ball here was tough to read. You can see it's down and hit with a little bit of topspin, and it was a tough read also for Bogarts at second base. Now, if this ball's caught, Xander is probably going to get doubled up. But he sees the ball drop in. He sees the ball get by Lagares, and he's able to score. But he'd have been doubled up if he makes the catch on this ball, because look where he is. He's still not sure, and he's almost at third base.
Well, they're going to rule that a base hit, an RBI. Runner goes, the pitch low, the throw, the tag, and it gets out of the glove. And down to second base with a steal is Travis Shaw. So a speed merchant as well.
Yeah, picks up his first steal of the spring. He's been caught one time, but that kind of surprised everybody. And that's when I like those stolen bases from guys that you don't expect it from. You get a base hit, you drive in a run, all of a sudden the head's down a little bit of the defense, and you pick up an easy stolen base to get into scoring position.
In 65 games of the Red Sox last year, he did not steal a base. And bounced up there on Chris Young, who struck out in the second inning. So the Red Sox lead at 1-0. Some aggressive base running, daring base running.
Now think about Travis Shaw. You know, the situation he's in all of a sudden. You know, you're working out all winter long. You know you've got Sandoval at third. You know they're going to put Hanley at first. Where do I fit in? All of a sudden, you got 2 weeks left in camp, and you're fitting in very nicely. So, you know, this is quite a pickup for Shaw as you head into the final 2 weeks of camp.
You wonder, too, mentally, is there a shift in him? Going from, well, I start camp as a guy trying to make the team. And after a couple of weeks, well, I think I'm on the team, but I'm not going to be a starter. And now, with 15 days to go to opening day, all the talk is, and this exploded this morning and yesterday, hey, I might be the guy at third base on opening day.
Yeah, he's hit all 3, hasn't he? He almost has hit all 3 up to this point.
Now, Pablo Sandoval admits that he's in a battle for his job, but he intends to win it. 2 balls, 1 strike on Young. And low. 3-1. Young, good power. 14 home runs with the Yankees last year. He's a pull hitter. Sox now with 4 hits, just 1 for the Mets. Young trying to pick up his 3rd RBI of the spring, and the 3-1. Good count. Foul off the line.
That's a good foul ball on a 3-1 count. You know, you're looking for something you can drive, you can pull, try to hit out of the ballpark, and Young out ahead of that pitch. You'd rather see that, pulling the ball foul, than hitting one foul to the opposite field on a 3-1 count. If there's a such thing as a good foul ball, that is one right there, because at least you know what he was trying to do in that hitter's count, and that's drive the ball.
Three and 2 on Young. Murphy on deck. Got him. Young goes down swinging. He strikes out for the second time.
That was the best fastball that Syndergaard velocity-wise has thrown all afternoon. That was a 98 miles an hour. Just overpowering Chris Young on that pitch right there. My best against your best, and that time Syndergaard won.
2 away. Murphy singled his last time up. He was also thrown out at home plate trying to score on a double by Ryan Hannigan. Check swing. Did he go? And he did. So it is strike one. I've always found that guys like Travis Shaw, who were around major league clubhouses, their dads playing baseball, they're not blown away when they get here.
No, they're not at all. And you see that over and over again where they just walk in the first day and they're very, very comfortable in their surroundings.
I think it explains, at least partially, why he was so confident when he came up to the big leagues last year and wasn't really a big-time prospect, but played like he was one. You know, hit the 13 homers, looked right at home. At Fenway, certainly. And a great swing for Fenway Park. The 0-2. He would not bite.
I can't say the same thing when I broke in. I mean, as a kid, going to the minor leagues was a major adjustment. And that first look at major league camp was, I mean, it was scary. You know, that you look down the side, you see Nolan Ryan throwing, you say, everybody throw like this in the big leagues. If they do, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, much to your relief, not everybody did.
No.
So 102 miles an hour. But that's going to blow you away. First time you're seeing major league pitchers and locating what they're throwing at that velocity.
Oh, yeah, and that was just a side session that I was watching, you know, and I went, my goodness, you know, this is not going to be easy at all. Not that I expected it to be, but it was intimidating, you know, and you get on the field with guys that you've heard about, you know, and go to ballparks the first year that you've watched on TV you've never seen before, and it's all very, very intimidating. But for a guy like Shaw who's been through that, it's not so much.
You know, from the time he was a little kid, he was around, you know, big league ball players, superstars. In your case, you're going, well, here's the bubblegum card. I've been collecting these.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And there he is, right there.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, he's trying to get me out at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Shaw leading his second, 2 down, to 2-2 to David Murphy. Shattered bat, grounded foul. And the business end went tumbling out to the first base position. So they'll do it again. Red Sox in front here, 1-0. An interesting part of the whole Shaw story with the Red Sox is John Farrell came up in the minor leagues pitching alongside Travis's dad. So they've known each other forever. And that means John knew Travis before he was ever old enough to grow a beard or a mustache.
Well, before John knew that he was going to be a major league manager someday, and before Travis knew he'd be a major league player someday.
Sox trying to get in another run here against Syndergaard. And now Murphy grows tired of waiting. He has a new bat here. Murphy 1 for 1 today. And one of the really good guys in the Red Sox clubhouse. The 2-2. He offered that pitch into the dirt. Scooped up by Darno, and he lobs a toss to complete the strikeout and retire the side. But the Red Sox reach Syndergaard for the first time. A double, a single. Travis Shaw with an RBI hit. His progress continues. Red Sox on top here, 1-0 over the Mets. Sox on top 1-0 on a Travis Shaw RBI single sliced into left field. And MLB.TV Premium is everything you've come to expect and more. You can watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams in high definition on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. The clouds overhead have thickened up a little bit. As we get to the last half of the fourth inning, Jerry Remy and Dave O'Brien with you. Wilmer Flores has really swung a good bat this spring. We'll lead things off for the Mets. He's 11 for 25, hitting .440. Remember last July there were rumors swirling around the Mets that Flores was about to be traded. He's an infielder. It was during a game against San Diego, and he became visibly upset. I mean, he started to tear up. Loves playing for the Mets, loves playing in New York. And the crowd in New York saw that, and they were very aware of the trade stories, and they gave him a standing ovation. And it was a big story because you don't see professional athletes breaking down like that very often. No one's in there for a strike. The trade did fall through. There were a lot of stories about whether it was actually done or not, but it fell through. 2 days later, he hits a walk-off home run to win a game for the Mets and got a gigantic standing ovation.
That's quite a story, isn't it? I mean, a guy that desperately wants to be with the team he's with does not want to be moved, does not want to be traded.
And reacted very emotionally. Trying to make his way back from a broken ankle he suffered in December in winter ball. 2-2 rattled foul. Actually got hit by a pitch on the ankle in winter ball and broke his ankle. You don't hear about that very often.
Always dangerous when you make contact and ends up around the foot, the ankle, the toes. So easy to break bones down in that area.
Ramirez looking for a strikeout, but a high fly into left center field on the run. Holden Castillo. Holt called off. Castillo makes the catch on the warning track. Brock actually going down in a sliding position to get away from that. One man gone.
Yeah, it's a good call by Castillo out there in center field. He is the take charge guy, and when the center fielder calls you off, you have to do everything in your power to get out of the way. You can see Holt tracking it. He's calling for it, but at the last minute, Castillo makes the call. That's what he's supposed to do, and Holt just hits the ground to get out of the way of Castillo. Both go hard until one man's in control, and if that man's a center fielder, everybody else is going to get out of the way.
Travis d'Arnaud, he's 0 for 1 with a fly to center. I think you'd have to say that generally Rusney Castillo's outfield defense has been solid.
I would agree with that. You know, especially this spring, it's been very, very solid in left field and in center field at times that we've seen him play center field.
Line into right field. It'll fall for a base hit for d'Arnaud. Just the second hit of the contest for the Mets. And a guy they will rely on, a key man as an offensive-minded catcher. They need him to stay healthy.
Now, very little scoring in this game so far for the Mets. Let's see if they try some type of play here with one out in the inning. If they get the proper count, you may see some type of hit and run.
Here's Lagares. He drew a walk in the second. He's their number 8 hitter today. And Noe Ramirez misses outside, ball 1. Talking with some members of the national press today down around the batting cage as the Sox were hitting, and universally they believe, everyone I talked to anyway, was saying that the division is completely up for grabs, the American League East. I don't know if they feel the same way in Toronto because they won the division, but they had David Price helping them last year. He's now with the Red Sox, and they're going to mash. They're going to hit a ton of home runs, but do they have enough pitching?
Yeah, that's the big question, I think, with Toronto. But I was talking with someone who was just up at the Toronto camp, and they said they really have a chip on their shoulder this year after not completing what they had hoped to a year ago.
The 2-0 misses downstairs for ball 3. Oh, I can see that. If Josh Donaldson has anything to say, they have a chip on his shoulder.
Exactly.
He's going to make sure they do. And Jose Bautista and Encarnacion, they have a lot of lumber there. Tulowitzki back. 93 wins wanted last year. And it's a strike over the inside corner on Lagares. I wonder how many wins it'll take to win the American League East this year. I think you can do probably fewer than that 93.
You think 90? 90 will get it done?
I think 88 to 92, yeah. High fly down the line, but he really hooked it, and it's a foul ball way out of here by Lagares.
Yeah, it's again a situation, a 3-1 count where you're up in the count. You're looking for a ball middle in. You drive it hard, but foul. And you can see the major moves made by the AL East this winter. Baltimore, Trumbo coming over. Red Sox, as we all know, their pickups. Yankees did very well. Stalin Castro moving to second base. Chapman in the bullpen. Tampa Bay, Brad Miller, not sure about him. Logan Morrison will get plenty of playing time.
Remembering that Chapman will not be available for the first 30 games.
Right.
Serving that major league suspension for the alleged domestic violence. That was a noisy strike on Lagares. Count 3 balls, 2 strikes. Darno off to the races, and it swung on and fouled back. They had him in motion. That should be a very interesting summer in New York City. The Mets would appear to have the upper hand in overall excitement coming off a World Series. 3-2 runner goes again, and that is ball 4. So the Red Sox have been very fortunate to this point because they've walked 5 men today and have not allowed a run yet.
And that really has been a problem for Red Sox pitching in a lot of the games that we have done. They've walked a lot of guys.
That's going to do it. Here comes John Farrell to make a pitching change. He's already made the call to the bullpen, which will come on with runners at first and second and 1 man out in 4th inning. Red Sox in front 1-0. That's all for Noe Ramirez. He did walk 2. Carlos Marmol will come on in relief, and this is a guy John Farrell talked about before the game. He wants to see his velocity up, but he has a chance for a bullpen spot. And we'll be back with more in just a moment. Fourth inning, Mets with a couple of base runners. Red Sox leading 1-0. And coming up on an all-new Charlie Moore Outdoors, the Mad Fisherman flying solo on his boat, cooking some of his favorite dishes as well. Don't miss Charlie and his antics. Lost somewhere in southern New Hampshire today after our Red Sox coverage. Outside for ball 1. Marmol coming out of the bullpen. Did not pitch in the major leagues last year, but has pitched and very successfully in the National League with the Cubs and the Dodgers and with Miami. Although his last year was a very difficult season. He was 0-3 in 15 appearances. And he throws that one all the way to the backstop. A wild pitch. That'll advance Darno down to third and Lagares into second.
You know, these are the kind of situations, too, in the season. If he was to be on the ball club, they'd be using him in situations where you got to get a couple of outs with a couple of men on base. Now, you were talking about velocity, Dave. The first two fastballs that he's thrown have been 90 and 91 miles an hour.
John Farrell said he needed more than that at this point, or wanted to see more than that. Back in the day with the Cubs in 2007, 8, 9, 10, he was a dynamite relief pitcher. ERAs of 1.43, 2.68. He had 38 saves one year, 34 another year. As a very good closer. He's now 33 years old, trying to get back into the big leagues. Only one out. Reynolds 0 for 1 today. Fouled back to the screen, 2-2.
Infield playing back for the Red Sox, conceding the one run, the potential tying run. Do not want to give up two in this situation, so they have the infield back. The only place that runner at third will not score is if it's a ground ball right back to Marmol.
Granderson on deck. And a right-hander from the Dominican just misses outside. Hannigan framed it and was hoping to buy a strike, but Ramon DeJesus said no.
Now, DeJesus, you know, so far from what I've seen, has got a very tight strike zone. He has not been giving the outside part of the plate. That's a pretty good breaking ball right there that is not called a strike. Apparently just missing down and away.
A base hit because Lagares runs well. Could very well mean 2 here for the Mets and put them in the lead in the 4th inning. They only have 2 singles. Sox have 4 hits. And another one to the backstop. Here comes a run to score and another down to third, and this game is tied. And that will not help his cause. 2 wild ones, and this one brings in the tying run.
And I have no idea what that pitch was. I saw on the radar gun it was 83. It might have been a changeup and not even close to being a strike. See that ball bouncing away from Hannigan. There's very little he could do about that. So the tying run does come in. The go-ahead run goes to third base. Now the Red Sox will play back for 2 in the middle infield with runners at first and third.
Reynolds to first base on what was ball 4. So they're on at first and third for Granderson, who was fly to left and grounded to first. We're tied 1-1. That is wide for ball 1. And again, it was a day where David Price was going to pitch here at Port St. Lucie, but because of thunderstorms expected here, and it has been cloudy all day, he stayed home in Fort Myers to pitch. Check swing, and that's on the corner for strike. 1-1 on the veteran outfielder. Very gregarious personality. Granderson's a great interview. Runner at first goes. The pitch is strike. The throw, and now a play at home plate. Bad throw, and he's safe at home. Bogart skipped the toss to home plate, and the Mets have the lead 2-1.
Now nicely executed by the Mets on that play. Not so well by the Red Sox. As a runner at third base, once you see that ball's going to be over the pitcher's head, you take off and go. And you could see the play at home plate where the return throw is going to bounce. And I don't believe Hannigan ever really had control of that ball from where it bounced. He tried to block the plate with his foot, but the hand got in there first.
Granderson tried to hold up, but he went through a swing and a miss and strike 3. So down he goes, and there are 2 away. So the Mets on the bases steal a run. And now have a 2-1 advantage. Lagares with good wheels. And I think if Bogart's throw is on the fly to home plate, he gets him.
I think so too. It looked like he had time to get him at home plate, but the bounce and a tough bounce for Hannigan to the field behind the plate.
Off the glove of Marmol that ricochets toward Pedroia, but no play. Play at home now, and the throw is high and into the screen. Another run is in. Wright heading to second base. And the Red Sox getting sloppy here in this fourth inning, as the Mets have now taken a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, this has been very sloppy. You know, a run scoring on a wild pitch, a run scoring on a double steal, and now a run scoring on an errant throw by Pedroia. This ball deflects off the glove right there, as you can see now. Pedroia's got to chase it down. They keep that runner moving at third base, and Pedroia just got to get rid of it as quick as he can and overthrows Hannigan at home plate. Pedroia's going to change directions. He's going up the middle to try to feel the ball, then he's going to come all the way back to at first base and just release it as any way that he can. That's good hustling baseball by the Mets right there.
Yeah, he had no shot at Wright at first base after the deflection. And Wright winds up at second base, 3-1 New York. And brings up Cespedes, who was flied out and singled. And you got to charge an error on Pedroia there with the runner Wright advancing down to second base on the throw. And now the Mets with a chance to really open things up here. Lined into left. Holt is there, backing up to make the catch, and a sinking shot. The Red Sox do not play very good defense in that inning. Certainly not crisp. The walks really hurt too, and the wild pitches were a crusher. 3-1. The Mets have the lead at the end.
At 98 miles an hour against Pedroia right there. It looks like a breaking ball. A fastball by short, up and away, and you can see another breaking ball right there. He's got good stuff in this ball. He always has good stuff every time he takes the mound. He can be just dominant.
He takes about 15 miles an hour off that fastball when he throws that changeup.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. That's Pedro Martinez stuff.
Yes. So a very bright future for him. He may never cut that hair. And Ryan Hannigan will lead it off here. Then it's Castillo and Travis scheduled to follow. That's Sam Travis. Been a good spring for anyone named Travis. Hannigan with a double in the second inning. He sliced one down the right field line. That was a play where David Murphy tried to score from first base and was cut down at home plate on a relay throw. The Sox would get a run in the fourth inning on a double by Xander Bogaerts and Travis Shaw with an RBI single. But now the Mets have the lead, getting 3 runs in the bottom of the fourth. And it wasn't pretty. A single, a pair of walks, 2 wild pitches, and an error. And that's a ball outside. I think you're right about the tight strike zone of this young umpire.
Yeah, there have been a number of pitches today that have been borderline, really could have gone either way, and they've all seem to go in the way of the hitter.
High chop foul off Hannigan. Ryan Hannigan ensconced as the backup. And a very reliable guy back there as a veteran. And more familiar with David Price than any of the Red Sox catchers, of course, because he caught him for a little bit at Tampa Bay when they were on that roster together. Mr. Price doesn't need a whole lot of help, though.
No, I think he's pretty well settled into what he wants to do in a baseball game.
Yeah. 2-2, right back up the middle, behind the bag. It's Walker, off balance throw, and the first baseman Duda could not dig it. That would have been a tremendous play had he been able to do that, but Duda didn't.
I don't quite understand why Walker had to go into a slide to make this play. I thought he could have made the play without doing that. It's almost like he overran it, right? And he had to stop himself. So that's when he goes into the slide right there and really could not get much on the throw at all. Duda, who it can be questionable down there at first base, is not able to pick it.
So Hannigan will take the base hit. And here's Rusney Castillo, 0 for 1 with a fly to center. Base hit into right. Hannigan will pull up at second. So the Red Sox got something brewing here. First and second. And nobody out. Let's go down to Garen Austin. Garen?
Hey, thanks, guys. As you guys were talking about earlier, it has been a great spring for Sam Travis. What's his secret? Well, it could be his old man. Travis recently told the Globe's Alex Spear that his dad taught him how to hit as a kid, and he told him to be short and quick, and he said that's really helped him keep his hands quicker. And you guys, this morning, John Farrell said that he has incredible hand-eye coordination and that he's really been handling this environment well.
Garen, thank you very much. He really has, leading the Red Sox in a number of categories. He has a good approach. Doesn't swing at bad pitches. Kind of a gritty kid, and they say country strong.
He's kind of going under the radar because so much attention has been on the defensive Hanley down there at first base that nobody's really paid attention to Sam Travis, but eye-popping numbers.
Goes 0 for 1, and he drops to 577 for the spring. Syndergaard's 0-1. High fly to right. Granderson ranging back. Cespedes there as well, but Granderson will make the catch. That had some good carry to it, enough that both runners are going to tag up and advance into second and third. So some of that strength we were talking about with Travis, that really just kept on going and going.
And that's what I call a productive out. You know, we talked about situational hitting. There you got first and second. You got nobody out. You definitely want to advance the runner at second to third base. So he gets the bonus. He gets two guys. Heads up by Castillo at first base, seeing where this ball is. He knows Granderson cannot throw him out if he goes back to tag up. He does, and he makes it in a scoring position. So the potential tying run now at second base. So good job by Travis, advancing two men.
And one of the better Red Sox situational hitters at the plate in Brock Holt. He's 0 for 2 today. Two men in scoring territory here, so base hit could retie this game at 3-3. Sox with 6 hits in this one. Brock, the All-Star last year, comes to this camp knowing he has a job and he's going to play a ton, even though he doesn't have one position. Slice foul back to the net. Pedroia on deck. That has to do him a world of good, knowing he's not battling for a job. He has a job. He knows he does.
Yeah, his biggest problem is defensively working at all the different positions he's going to have to play this season.
He's blown me away with his ability on the defensive end at so many different positions. Some of the catches he's made in the outfield, I mean, really eye-popping catches into the dirt. Darno with a good stop.
Yeah, the nice thing about it, you know, the luxury of a Brock Holt is you put him in, you know you're going to get a good offensive performance out of him. But most of all is the defense, and you can slide him in at any place defensively, and he's going to be solid there. And that's infield, outfield, wherever they may put him. It's such a luxury for a manager.
2-1. Fly to left center field, pretty well hit. Lagares and Cespedes on the move. The left fielder will make the over-the-shoulder catch. Hannigan will tag up. He's in to score. Castillo into third base. Another good at bat by Brock Holt, and the Red Sox are within one now, 3-2.
Yeah, we talked about some of that situational hitting, and we're seeing it in this inning. We saw with first and second. The long fly ball at Travis advances two guys. We got a man at third base. A long fly ball is going to get at least one run home to make it a one-run game. So, they're not turning into base hits, but they are getting some production done.
Hold with his fourth RBI of the spring. The tag and score by Hannigan. And Castillo moves 90 feet away as well. Just a smart ball player. Pedroia 0 for 2. And can tie it up by bringing in this run. Brock going with a shorter hairstyle, at least for the beginning of the season. He had the long locks last year. Two and 0. Still trying to get him together with Matt Damon, his lookalike.
That looks more like him with the shorter hair.
Yeah, that's more like the Goodwill Hunting do there. That's a strike. 97 on the gun.
That fastball's been very consistent all afternoon for Syndergaard. 97, 98 miles an hour.
Two down. Pedroia trying to pick up the run. He has not driven in a run this spring. He gets a piece of that one.
A little something different that time. A changeup to Pedroia at 84 miles an hour.
And Met fans eager for a third and final out from Syndergaard, but there are a lot of Sox fans here today. They want to see this thing tied up in the fifth inning. Here's the 2-2, and he missed with it. Mets have a left-hander throwing in the bullpen. Castillo at third base, and the 3-2. Fly left center field. Cespedes will put that away to retire the side. Red Sox do grab another run on a couple of hits, and a sac fly from Brock Holt. Looks like Syndergaard is done for the day. We're in the middle of the fifth inning. It's the Mets on top, 3-2 here at Tradition Field. St. Lucie, and the Mets on top of the Sox here 3-2. David Price was supposed to start this game today, but he stayed home in Fort Myers here earlier because of impending weather and the threat of thunderstorms might shorten his outing here. So he worked in a minor league game. He faced 23 hitters through 76 pitches, and he struck out 8 of them. So his pitching line through 5 innings today in that simulated game at Fort Myers where the weather was better. Duda swings at the first pitch and pops it to Shaw at third base this afternoon, and a one-handed catch for 1 out. Duda 0 for 2.
Now the Red Sox looking for a shutdown inning right here. They've got themselves back in the game. It's a 1-run ball game. Try to get the offense back at the plate as soon as possible, and it'll be against the new Mets pitcher.
Marmolo had a rocky 4th inning, staying on to pitch here against Neil Walker, who is 0 for 1 with a walk. Red Sox pitching staff has walked 6 men today. So rather fortunate the Mets have been held to 3 runs. Wind has been blowing out to right field, so it's a good win for the left-hand hitter. He tried to check, and it is high. They appeal, and he says no swing.
Again, you made the point about the velocity from Mamol, and that last fastball topping out at 90 miles an hour.
And Red Sox say they want to see more. Fly down the left field line. Big shift on with Pedroia and Bogaerts on the right side. John Farrell says there is room. Chatting there with Ruben Amaro, his new first base coach. Brand new to the staff, former general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies.
And really enjoying being back on the field as a coach.
And back in uniform. He played in the big leagues. Very bright guy, Stanford educated. Fluent in Spanish, which is a real plus in any major league clubhouse. 2-2 over the shoelaces and a full count on Walker. So another 3-ball count from a Red Sox pitcher. We've seen a lot of those today. Walker's 16 home runs with the Pittsburgh Pirates last year. He's brand new to the Mets. He wouldn't chase, and it's ball 4, so another walk. That's 7 and counting issued by the Sox today.
That's amazing, as you mentioned. Only 3 runs on the board with 7 walks given up by Red Sox pitching at this point of the game.
Red Sox earning a rain-shortened 3-1 victory over the Cardinals yesterday at JetBlue. Flores with a walk and a fly to center. One down and 1 on for the Mets. Jerry, is your bracket just busted all to pieces? Your NCAA bracket?
Don't have one, Dave.
Bluff bunt, throw down to second. Going to be close and safe. And a stolen base for Walker. You don't have a bracket.
I do. I'm probably the only person in the country that does not have a bracket.
I'm telling you, you're the only person in the country that doesn't have a bracket.
I just don't. I don't know what it is. It's way too confusing for me. See very slow delivery to home plate by Mamol, and not you know a clear-cut stolen base. Certainly just enough to pick up the steal, but had that delivery been a little bit more quick to home plate, there certainly would have been not a jump on that ball, not a good enough jump to be saved at second base.
You know, I'm in a state of shock. I thought you were going to come back and go, you know, Michigan State blew my bracket when they got knocked out in the first round.
No.
Izzo is such a great tournament coach. I can't believe Darnell Valentine's career is over. You know, I thought that's how you'd come at it, but no.
Now, this is all news to me, Dave. It's all news to me.
in there for strike 3, and Flores will take a seat. You've heard of UCLA and John Wooden?
Oh, absolutely, yes. There's no question about that. There's so much of it, and believe me, I have family members who absolutely will not miss a game.
Yeah.
They do not miss a game. But I just, we're busy here, and you're busy, obviously, doing games. And I really have a hard time getting wrapped up in it until, the end. At the end, I do.
Like the Final Four, you'll get into the Final Four.
Absolutely, yeah.
Watch the national championship game.
Great competition.
Yeah. But until then, the tournament might as well not have been played. Fastball is going to be outside on Darno, who's 1 for 2.
Now, you had a game yesterday. Did you do the game that was 44-4 at one point?
It was 41-4. The Yukon women got out of the gate rather strong at Stores yesterday.
I would say so. Yeah.
And they are incredible, as you know. Gino Auriemma, who is going for his 11th national championship, and they get a chance to open up on their home floor. And poor Robert Morris, I mean, they didn't know what hit them.
Yeah.
It was over in just minutes, surgical.
Yeah, I heard that score down here yesterday. And did you have somewhere else to go tomorrow, right? You're going back to do another game.
Heading back, and they're playing to close out the second round. They're playing a game on Monday night. We'll have that one. So yeah, you and I will only be in each other's company for these few hours, and then I'm back to work there, and you're back to work for the rest of spring training.
Well, I'll keep you abreast of what's going on down here, and
yes,
I'll read about what's going on where you are.
Count 3 balls and 1 strike. It is amazing to me how this gigantic sporting event can happen, and it's swirling all around you, and you could care less. You're like,
you know what's amazing, Dave? The older I get, the less I have interest in certain things, and where I used to watch everything.
You used to watch all the college sports, all the pro sports.
All sports related, college football, college basketball, professional basketball, everything. And I've kind of trimmed down as I've got older as far as what my tastes are from watching. Now, I love playoffs of all sorts. Yeah. I really do. I think that's the greatest competition you can have. Hockey playoffs, they're great. Basketball playoffs, they're terrific. The Final Four is great. All that stuff. I love it. But I find myself, as I get older, for some reason, watching less sports on TV. I don't know why that is.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea, but I'll pick it up. I guess I'm a fair weather fan. I'll pick it up in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm that way with Los. I'm that way with golf in particular. I don't care about the early rounds.
No.
But give me, like, if it's close, give me the last 4 or 5 holes at Augusta on Sunday, and I'm intrigued by that. As Lagares goes spinning out of there, runners at first and second, 3-2. The Mets have the lead. And if it's close and the tournament's up for grabs, I'll watch the heck out of that.
Out of golf. See, I won't bother with it.
You want no golf at all?
No. Golf and I don't get along. We tried it. We tried when I retired from playing, and I had golfed a little bit in high school. And so I figured I'd pick it up when I was done playing. And I went to these different country clubs, and you had to have people over to see if you were good enough to join the country club. And I said, this is not for me. This is not the way I operate.
Long walk spoiled, in other words.
And then I started to play a little bit, and I was not very good. I found out I was not very good at this at all, losing more balls and a lot of cheaters.
There are a lot of cheaters in golf.
A lot of cheaters.
Yeah. Everybody cheats in golf.
And
it's a real shame.
I play with a guy, he's in the trees, he's in the lake, he's over here, he's over there. What'd you get? 4? 4. You had 4 back there when you lost the ball in the trees. Are you kidding me?
Right.
So I kind of lost interest in it, and so it's I don't know, it's kind of strange.
2-0 and lined and caught by Bogaerts for out number 3 to retire the side. A couple of walks in that inning, but again don't hurt the Red Sox. Oddly enough, we have wrapped up 5. You and I will not. Red Sox spring training on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEAT to treat someone special to a game right now. Well, the Mets make a change on the mound. The lanky, tall left-hander Jerry Blevins comes out of their bullpen, and he's all of that at 6'6". Red Sox going with their regulars deep into the game. Blevins making 7 appearances last year at the major league level. Bogaerts, Shaw, and Young in this inning. That's 3, 4, and 5. Red Sox do have the hit lead 6-3, but the Mets lead 3-2. Sander dribbles that one foul.
Now, you mentioned early in the game where Bogaerts really has not found his swing yet this spring. Hopefully that last at bat where he got a double will get him going in the right direction. Pulling the ball in the gap, actually more towards center field, but picking up a 2-base hit in the 4th inning.
Loves to take on lefties. He hit .365 against them last year. That was number 2 in the majors. Off speed and downstairs. You're right, Jerry. A slew of changes for the New York Mets.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, they've taken just about everybody out of the game. They have a new first baseman, second baseman, left fielder, right fielder, center fielder, third baseman, catcher. They may have a new manager. High chop foul. Shortstop remaining the same. Reynolds, but that's it. Old friend Alejandro Diaza is now in center field. He was with the Sox. Two and 2 on Xander. 1 for 2 with that double and a run scored. Down and in for a ball and a full count. Red Sox have not accepted a walk in this one. Johnny Monell is the new catcher. And there's ball 4. So Xander is on. Now the defensive changes. Conforto, Diaza, and Bernardina in the outfield. Rivera, Kelly, and Campbell on the infield with Reynolds, the only starter who stays in. And Johnny Monell doing the catching. So the Red Sox have the leadoff man on here in the 6th inning. Trailing 3-2, and here's Travis Shaw. Travis today 1 for 2 with an RBI single, so he continues to hit. Started the day hitting .419, 270, 13 homers last year after the call-up. He hit, and he hit with power. The 1-0. That's a strike.
That's a good breaking ball right there. 1 ball, no strike. You're looking for a fastball as a hitter. He does not get it. Lefty against lefty. He gets the breaking ball and does the wise thing there by taking it. Even though that ball was left inside, it surprised him. He thought he was going to get a fastball in that situation.
He's driven in 10 runs this spring. Play on at first base and back in Xander. Now Bogaerts now 23 years old. A huge star in Aruba, of course, and you were there on vacation. You saw his, would you call it a statue?
No, yeah, I made a mistake. It's not a statue. It's more of a plaque that he has. Somebody sent me a picture of it.
Liner up the middle, base hit into center field. A seeing eye single down to second. Bogaerts. Travis Shaw's second hit today. He's 2 for 3.
Yeah, left-handed too. So he's doing it against right-handers, left-handers. He's doing it against everybody right now. That ball not exactly scorched, but perfect placement for the base hit. Now, had they been in the shift, which a lot of teams are, this probably would have been an out. But the Mets select not to shift on him, and it finds its way into center field for the base hit. There you can see they're playing in the pull without question, but had they been in the shift, that's probably exactly where the shortstop would have been, and that would have been a fairly routine play.
Now, previously, the Mets threw over to first base with Bogaerts, the base runner there, and I wonder if he's going to do a little more running this year. He stole 10 bases last year, and he's a good enough athlete. You could see him stealing 15, 16, 17 bases.
Yeah, I think it depends greatly on the situation in the game. And remember, he's going to probably have Hanley hitting behind him. And a lot of times you become very tentative to run when you get a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark like Ramirez can do. You don't want to run into it out in front of him. So it's kind of like run with caution, for a lot of these guys in the Red Sox lineup, with the exception of Mookie Betts.
A healthy Dustin Pedroia should run more than he has. Young has struck out twice. Off speed again, but down low. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 on. And nobody out. Red Sox trailing by a run. So I guess in Aruba, a guy does something as he's done. He's won a gold medal. He's done some things. Last year, the number 2 hitter in the American League. High fly. That one jacked to left field. Conforto back. He's already turning around. It sails. It is out of here. Chris Young torches a 3-run homer, and the Red Sox take the lead. Man, did he hit it. Well, he really showed you his power on that stroke.
He certainly did, and we've talked about him against left-handed pitching, and as soon as he gets a lefty in this game, he hits a big fly out there to left field.
Oh, he knew it immediately.
Yeah, he did. You could tell the way he wrapped that bat around himself that he knew that he had the long ball. It was going to be, no question about that one. Conforto going back. He runs out of real estate. Red Sox take the lead in the ball game. And that's really the story with Young, the way he handles left-handed pitching.
Big reason the Red Sox got him. Boston now on top 5-3. Murphy off the end of the bat, pops that to center. Reynolds backs up to one-handed. That's the first out in the inning. He'll be playing a lot against lefties. He's had some big years, too, with Arizona. One year he hit 27 home runs. See what he's done against left-handers a season ago, 327. He sees them well. Certainly saw Blevins well, and he's out of the ball game now to make the pitching change. So the Mets go to a new hurler. Jerry with you. That's Jerry on the right. Big home run by Chris Young as he torches a 3-run shot. And the Red Sox lead at 5-3. Buddy Carlisle coming out of their bullpen, a right-hander, to take on Hannigan. Hannigan has had a good day with a double and a single. He's 2 for 2 and he has scored a run. He takes high and tight for a ball. And Rusney Castillo will follow him. Red Sox do have 8 hits. And the weather has held here today. Liner looping toward left center. Man in for a base hit. He's 3 for 3. So Ryan Hannigan, who started the day 2 for 14 for the spring, delighted he made the trip here.
Yeah, very nice double, 2 singles in the ball game for Hannigan as he takes this ball that's inside, pulls it for the base hit. Pulls it out towards center field and chased down out there by De Aza. Red Sox completely out hitting the Mets in this game, 9-3 to this stage.
Now Castillo has one of those, a base hit. He's gone 1 for 2. That's a big spring for Rusney. And as you see the numbers on Carlisle, just 11 major league appearances and a high ERA. Rusney still trying to impress and show that he belongs at the major league level. Remembering he is going to be 29 years old in July. So it's not like he has lots of springs to do it. He has to do it now. Last year, 273 major league at-bats. He hit 253 with 5 home runs. He flicks that one foul. For the Paw Sox, he hit 282 with 3 home runs in 40 games. At times last year, he was pretty streaky and could get very hot with the bat. And really launched the ball. 1-2.
I think with the Red Sox are looking for, both Jackie Bradley Jr., a consistency with their game. You see flashes of brilliance, on both sides of the ball, defensively, offensively. Where is that consistent point going to end up? Where's it going to be? And can you maintain that consistency throughout the major league season?
Pop foul out of play. The major difference between those two for me, anyway, is that Jackie Bradley clearly is an elite defensive player.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
Off the charts as far as, Gold Glove level center field.
Without question. Without question.
And Rusney, is a guy who moves around different positions. And, yeah, he's done pretty well at those spots. But he's not Jackie Bradley with the glove or the arm. But the offense, yeah, they're both looking to be consistent and show that they can do it up here. And right now, the jury is out on Rusney Castillo's ability to do that. Sam Travis, who's made a lot of noise this spring, is on deck. A wave and a miss. He really chased that one, and down he goes, strike 3. And that is out number 2.
That ball looked like it was well outside to Castillo. He just, as Dave said, waved at it. And no contact, could not foul it off. Goes down and strikes. You see the location of that pitch, how far the catcher had to reach for it just to make the catch on it.
That brings up Travis with Hannigan at first base, 2 gone. Red Sox ahead 5-3 in the 6th inning. Travis has appeared in a game at Fenway Park before. That was when he was a Cape Cod All-Star. Played in the Cape League in 2012 and hit .339 for Yarmouth Dennis with 4 home runs. And he played in the Cape All-Star game at Fenway. Flies that one to right center. And Diaz have plenty of room. The catch. But the Red Sox get 3 on the big swing of Chris Young. His second home run. He takes a lefty out of the ballpark. Could be commonplace this season. And the Red Sox lead at 5-3 here in the 6th inning. leading the Mets 5-3, and a couple of changes for Boston. Luis Isla is the new left-hander. He's a 22-year-old from Venezuela. So he'll do the pitching and has himself a new catcher as well in Sandy Leon. Otherwise, Jerry, we're getting to that spot in spring training, which is just marvelous for announcers, where most of the regulars stay in the game most of the time.
Yeah.
A big hunk of the time.
This is, keep looking at that dugout, expecting wholesale changes for the Red Sox. The Mets have already had them. And we're just waiting for the Red Sox to have those type of changes. It has not happened yet.
And we're not sitting on the edge of our seat waiting for that moment, because changes in spring training, when they come in battalions. And they can be a challenge. Matt Reynolds has walked and scored. He's also hit into a fielder's choice. Yeah, you get somebody who moves sheetrock for a living who's going, listen to the whiny broadcasters talk about making changes and how hard that is, They even get lunch. They're not able to bring a lunchbox to work. They just, they just get it at the ballpark. Free. They don't even have to pay for it. Slicer foul out of play. And believe me, they have a point.
Oh, they have a very good point.
Not going to get any argument from me.
No.
Get to watch baseball games and eat for free. The 1-1 to Reynolds. Fastball at 93 miles an hour from Isla. He was in the Giants system last year till the Red Sox acquired him from San Francisco in August. He spent the majority of last year at San Jose, which is high A ball for the Giants. And does not work at a very fast pace, we're finding out. The 1-2 is high and tight.
Really uncoils, doesn't he, when he makes that pitch to home plate? Legs go flying, everything.
Diaza on deck. One of the many changes by manager Terry Collins. The 2-2. Well, good one there at 94 to strike him out. So one man away, and Diaza will be next.
Again, keeping that ball away, and no contact on that swing. So the Red Sox trying to pick up more strikeouts than walks here late in the ball game, and Isla right now getting his first out with the strikeout.
The Red Sox have walked 7 men today and yet have a 2-run lead in the 6th inning. Alejandro, who's with the Red Sox for time, and he will take one upstairs for ball 1. Red Sox are about to have in the next several days an off day in spring training. And those are rare things. They just don't happen very often in spring training.
Yeah, you got the 3 games here on the East Coast, and followed by an off day back home, of course, in Fort Myers. And then after that, Dave, is when it really, in my opinion, gets serious, because you're really down to it. You're going to be talking about coming back on Thursday.
Yep.
And you're limited as far as spring training time goes. So they've really got to fight through this little stretch on the East Coast, which is kind of uncomfortable for a lot of people. With a lot of back and forth for players going back to Fort Myers, coming back here, trying to spread it out as much as they possibly can. But when they get back after that and have that off day, I think that's when you start to see games more like regular season games. You want to see players go deeper into ball games. You want to kind of set your pitching up the way you might use it to start the season.
3-0 pitch and in there for a strike. Well, John Farrell was talking before the game about the dead arm period of spring training, and he feels like the Red Sox are through it now. but there was a period there of several games where a lot of guys were experiencing that dead arm period that comes naturally at a certain point in spring training, having not thrown as much over the winter, and that one is inside ball 4. And there's 8 walks issued by the Red Sox today. Maybe that dead arm period isn't quite over yet.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I was never a pitcher, obviously, so I couldn't tell you what that feels like. But it can't be a good feeling going out there knowing that, you don't have everything you possibly have in the tank to try to get outs in spring training.
So runner on at first base with 1 away. This is T.J. Rivera hitting in right spot. David Wright came up to bat 3 times today. Only has 6 at bats for the spring, but he did have a base hit. And trying to get him back into the flow with that back issue, and they're hoping he'll play 135 games this season. And that's inside for a ball, and now Leon wants a mound visit as Isla is missing, like a lot of his fellow pitchers have today. So command has certainly been an issue today for the Red Sox and this pitching staff. Well, tonight at 10 on NESN Sports Today, we'll have highlights and a complete recap of Red Sox spring training from Port St. Lucie, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. Red Sox with a 5-3 advantage. These clubs will not face each other during the regular season. The Red Sox did take 2 out of 3 from the Mets when they met late in August last year. Red Sox first visit ever to Citi Field. What do you think of Citi Field?
I liked it, and especially since they've made it a little bit more hitter-friendly than it was when they first opened. When it first opened, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Cavernous.
How far you had to hit a ball to get a home run there. And I think they've made it a little bit more hitter-friendly, which makes it a little bit more of a cozy ballpark than what it was. But I enjoyed it.
Well, the place was packed, and it was rocking. And that makes a big difference. 3 balls and 1 strike. That plate moving around on Luis Isla. As we get a look at him today here in Port St. Lucie, it's brightening up a little bit. Been kind of a gray day with the threat of rain hanging over our heads, but it hasn't rained once. Diaz back to first.
A couple of throws to first base on the 3-1 count. The Mets on a few occasions today have got that runner going on the 3-1 count.
The weather system, we're told, has stayed south by Miami and has not moved up here. About an hour north of West Palm Beach. That's in there for a called strike. And it can stay right there for a little longer, as far as we're concerned. Red Sox won a rain-shortened game yesterday, 3-1 at Fort Myers against the Cardinals. The Mets got rained out. So they were eager to play today and have Syndergaard pitch. And he pitched well. Another throw over to first base. Syndergaard went 5. He gave up 6 hits, 2 runs. He struck out 5. He didn't walk anybody. And regularly was touching 97. Red Sox have rallied against the Met bullpen and have a 5-3 lead on a Chris Young home run, a 3-run shot. Isla really taking his time out there. 1 out and another 3-2. And yanked foul out of play.
Almost had the runner at first base taking off too soon. He made a couple of jab steps towards second base, but there was no throw to first. They'd have had him picked off. And then finally, after the pitch was delivered to home plate, he decided to go to second, Diaz. But he could have been picked off on a throw to first base on that last pitch.
Mets only have 3 hits today. Isla hoping for a ground ball right at somebody, but another throw to first base.
You know, this is the kind of pace that really drives players behind you crazy. It really does. You know, you stand there and you say, you know, just throw the ball, please. You know, keep me involved in the ball game. Everybody's kind of flat-footed out there behind him. He's making a lot of throws to first. He's taking a long time between pitches.
Three-two runner goes. Popped him up. Into short right. Pedroia backing up. Coming on Young, and Young wants it. And that'll be out number 2. You know who loves this pace, though? The vendors.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Especially on a muggy day like today.
They are moving some product in the stands. Now that'll send up Conforto, who hit .270 with 9 homers, 26 RBIs last season. Met fans very hopeful in 2016. They want to go back to postseason play. They were one of the great surprises last year. Once they got Cespedes and really took off. In for a strike on Conforto. Conforto, the son of a former Penn State linebacker and Olympic gold medalist in synchronized swimming. Mom and dad, both athletes, very, very good athletes. He won't chase, and the count's 1-1. Now, we've established you won't watch much of the NCAA tournament. How about the Olympics? The Olympics are coming this summer. Will you get into the Olympics at all?
No, because we're working. You know? And we want people watching Red Sox baseball, not the Olympics.
Well, clearly they will be. They'll be watching the Sox and watching Yuan Nesson. The 1-1 pitch is on the corner for a called strike. But I'm going to follow the Olympics nonetheless in some way.
Yeah,
you know.
We always have an opportunity after the game or before the game during the day to check out what's going on. I mean, I love obviously those events, and it's so exciting for just about everybody. But we have to focus, Dave. You know, from 7 to 10 to 10:30, we got to be on our game.
Got to be on our game. Focus. Throw to first, and back in is Diaza.
I got to tell you, if I was playing second base behind Isla here, I would not be really focused right now. He's taking forever.
He is. Beatty doing the best he can. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Little rattler to third, and Shaw will scoop that and get him. And that inning has come to an end. Red Sox on top 5-3 at the end of 6 here at Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie.
Hi, I'm Joan London.
Top of the 7th inning at Tradition Field here, 5-3 Red Sox over the New York Mets. And enjoy the Fenway experience with your group in 2016. Sox outings, the perfect way to entertain clients, take kids out, all sorts of great stuff. Visit redsox.com/groups for more information. Brock Holt flares a foul out of play. He is 0 for 2 today, but he has driven in a run with a sac fly in the 5th inning, which you've come to expect from Brock Holt. Good smart hitting to bring in a run. Red Sox would add 3 more in the 6th inning on a Chris Young home run and lead at 5-3. 15 days away from opening day in Cleveland. Liner, but caught on the backhand by Reynolds. He's the one remaining starter for the Mets.
Yeah, good, solid, hard contact that time, and that ball dipping as it got to Reynolds, the shortstop, but he's able to make the backhanded play and pick up the first out. So Holt 0 for 3 in the game, but does have that sacrifice fly to get a run in back in the 5th inning. Hit that ball very well, and see that ball sink right at the end, and nice play by Reynolds, the shortstop.
Dustin Pedroia had a terrific opening day last year in Philadelphia, 3 for 5 with a couple of home runs. You wouldn't mind repeating that and keeping that rolling. Of course, he wants desperately to stay off the disabled list. He had 2 stints on there last year with that hamstring injury. It gave him a real tough time, and he wound up playing in only 93 games. So I think you've seen a little bit of a different physique with PD this spring, huh?
Yeah, he's a little bit, not that he was heavy by any means, but he's not as thick, I think, in the upper body as he usually comes to camp. And I think one of the things he concentrated on in this past offseason, obviously, one, staying healthy, but number 2, getting his range back at second base. There are a lot of people that thought maybe that had slipped a little bit, and that's all Pedroia needs to hear. Somebody say that. And he's going to try to get it back as much as possible. And we've seen very good range from him, here in spring training.
He's been a great defender throughout his career. Wants that Gold Glove back. Swing and a miss, but was it foul tip? The home plate umpire is looking down at Gary Cedarstrom, and it was never foul tip. Now he's calling a foul ball at home plate. Or is he? Here comes John Farrell out. The young umpire is confused, and he is going to rule a foul ball.
He was looking immediately down to Cedarstrom down at first base to see if he could see it, because apparently the home plate umpire did not see it.
Down into the dirt, looking for help from Cedarstrom.
See it with his hand out right there. I don't know. I have no idea whether that ball was tipped or not.
The look I have on my face when the wife says, "Did you take the dog out? Have you fed the dog? What are you doing with the dog? Is the dog on his own?" Same look on my face. Base is empty, 1 out. Xander Bogaerts on deck, getting ready to come up for the 4th time today. Chop foul again by Pedroia. You're right, though. I mean, not like people have severely criticized Dustin Pedroia. He's had a great career, but if he hears just a little, somebody on a talk show or something,
That's all he needs. Just somebody, maybe me and you, to say, "Oh, that's a ball that he could have had or might have had," And then, "Oh no, that's it." I mean, he's immediately on it right away.
Yeah, takes offense at that, and it's been one of the things that drives him to be a great player. And when he's been healthy, he's had some great seasons. Now the catcher, Monell, will come out and talk with Carlisle.
When you think about it, Dave, a guy like Pedroia has had to do that his whole career. Everywhere he's been kind of the underdog because of his size. And, you look at him, you go, what kind of player is this guy going to be? And that's all he's needed. He's always used that to motivate himself, to become better, to become a better player. It doesn't take much to motivate Pedroia.
Now, David Ortiz had one of the great lines about him several years ago. He said, I play baseball because I love it. Dustin Pedroia plays baseball because he has to play baseball. Mm-hmm. This is what he lives and breathes for every single day. Got jammed there. He fought it up the middle. Reynolds behind the bag, off balance, but got him at first base. So 2 down for the Sox. That one really in on the handle of Dustin Pedroia.
You know, when you think back at Dustin's career and when he first came to the big leagues, there was some question whether he was going to be able to play at the big league level. And he was very close to being replaced by Cora at second base.
Remember it very well.
All of a sudden he took off. I mean, they were ready to make that move and probably send him back to Pawtucket. And look what he's done since then. I mean, so, you know, and you looked at him, you know, you saw this, you know, short guy with a big swing, and you say, ah, man, that doesn't just look right, you know. And I made the same mistake. I questioned, you know, whether he was going to be a big league, a good big league player. Well, I mean, I was totally wrong on that one, and it didn't take long for him to prove it. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that gets him going, and he just hates to fail.
Bogaerts knocks a foul in the air down the right field line.
And he wasn't spectacular when he came up defensively either. It's not like you could say, well, you know, he looked great defensively, but he's just having some problems getting used to the big league pitching. I mean, it was both sides that didn't look like maybe it wasn't quite ready yet for the big leagues. And they would, I mean, I'm serious, they were this close to making the change and putting Cora back out there at second base.
And Alex Cora is one of the guys who said, wait a minute, that would not be smart. This kid has the goods,
right,
not only to be a good player, but to be a great major league player. That would be a mistake. I thought it was one of the classier things I ever heard, because he was going to benefit from that.
Right.
He was going to get that job. Terry Francona was the other one, along with Theo Epstein at that time, who really backed up Pedroia based on what they've seen in the minor leagues. That's in there for strike 3. And the Red Sox dip quietly here in the 7th inning. 1-2-3 against the New York Mets, but still the Sox in front 5-3 as they what has been a dry day, thank goodness, here at Tradition Field, Port St. Lucie, Florida. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien with you. Red Sox in front 5-3. They've out-hit the Mets 9-3. And now the Red Sox make a bevy of changes everywhere you look as the regulars are done for the day. And they played a long game. Brock Holt is out. Xander Bogaerts is out. So is Travis Shaw, Dustin Pedroia. Chandler Shepard coming out of that bullpen, the right-hander, so he is the new pitcher. Red Sox have had difficulty throwing strikes today, but have swung the bats better than the Mets. 35 appearances in the minor leagues. And Eric Campbell will hit for the Mets here in the 7th, and he'll take a strike. Devin Marrero in the game at shortstop. In fact, a whole new infield for John Farrell. That'll be down and away. One to Campbell. Hammered foul out of play. Red Sox all-time against the New York Mets have the lead in interleague games, a 13-11 edge. Mets took the only postseason matchup between these clubs, the 1986 World Series, 4-3. 1-2. Did he go? Yes, he did. Gary Cederstrom rings him up. So Campbell whiffs, one man gone. Ty Kelly will be up next. On one hop, Rutledge there for the stab. 2 fast outs. I'll never forget, I got my first broadcasting job in South Carolina in 1986, and it was that October, of course, and Red Sox were on the verge of beating the Mets for the World Championship, and I was on the phone with my dad, who was alive at the time, and on the phone with him at the very moment, because we were about to celebrate, and then what happened at first base with Bill Buckner happened, and I never heard my dad make a sound. He just hung up the phone, and I did the same thing.
Well, for me, that was my first year out of uniform.
Really?
And it was, of course, they go to the World Series. You know, Monty Barrett had a great playoff run at second base. And I must admit, it was hard for me watching, you know, that going for a championship when you just tried yourself doing it for a number of years, couldn't get that goal. And then watching all of a sudden you retire, you know, 1 year in, and they're going for the championship. I was obviously disappointed they didn't get it.
Chopped to third. Witt with a long throw, and right by the first baseman, Marrero. And goes thudding up against the tarp.
It looks like the Red Sox were going to have a 1-2-3 inning. They haven't had one since back in the first inning of this game today. But the low throw by Witt at third base, and Marrero, the first baseman, cannot pick it, so there'll be a base runner in a 2-run ball game. But yeah, I remember sitting home watching that in disbelief what happened. And I said, well, they still got a game 7, you know.
Right, yeah.
They're going to be fine, and they did start off fine in that game.
Had the lead, yeah.
But that was really incredible. And you know, a lot of guys in that team were guys that I had played with, so I was obviously pulling for them.
Yeah, certainly a personal stake in every way for you there. That'll be down low for ball 1. It's amazing, though, that used to sting a lot worse than it does now as a Sox fan. It used to really hurt bitterly to discuss what happened in Game 6, but it doesn't anymore. As you look at the reset defense, not nearly as much.
Well, Red Sox have been able to win some championships, and I think that changes the mindset of a lot of people. It was always going to be, you know, what's going to happen to us now? When is it going to happen
again
and again? And how's it going to happen again? And that's the kind of thought process I think all Red Sox Nation had, you know, going into those kind of situations. And finally, they got that monkey off their back with winning the World Championship, and now it's a totally different feeling. It really is, from fans, you know, in the nation.
Line shot into center field. It'll drop for a base hit. Lamar will scoop it up. But the Mets have a couple of men on now after the error and the single. Runners on at first and second. Yeah, 0-4 changed everything. 0-7 only added to that. 13 again. The same thing. And I think with every ring, with every championship, it just lessens some of the sting a little bit more, It receded into the background. Whereas it used to be in the forefront of all our consciousness.
Oh, how are they going to lose this time? How's it going to happen? You know, when is it going to happen? When are they going to take the dive?
Right.
And when is something bad going to happen to this team?
The days of the tragic Red Sox. But, you know, my kids who have been raised as Red Sox fans, they don't know anything about that.
No. They've been, you know, a lot of championships between the Patriots, the Red Sox, and the Bruins, of course.
Love the parades. Bernardina here. Roger Bernardina batting with runners at first and second. Red Sox trying to hold on to their 5-3 lead. 2 down and 2 on. And that'll drop down and away for a ball. Oh, our kingdom for a 1-2-3 inning. Only one of those in this entire game for the Red Sox pitching staff. First inning. Lots of walks, 8 walks, and yet the Sox are in front. And a 2-0. Popped him up. Should be caught. Marrero, the first baseman, off the foul line and makes the play to retire the side. So the Mets put a couple of men on base, but they fail to score. We're moving on to the 8th inning at Port St. Lucie. Red Sox 5 and the Mets 3.
Have the 5-3 lead as we go to the top of the 8th inning here in Port St. Lucie, and Red Sox really kind of fortunate today. Travis Shaw having a nice day today as that ball gets by Lagares in the outfield, and Bogart's coming in to score a run for the Red Sox. Sacrifice fly by Brock Holtz, gets a run in. Red Sox been able to survive today with the pitching staff giving up a lot of walks. There's a long home run by Chris Young against a left-hander, and we talked about the left-handers that he does damage to. He did some damage today with that big home run back in the 6th inning.
It was a 3-run shot, and the Red Sox have held that lead since 5-3. Here's Antonio Bastardo, who was with the Pirates last year, used a lot and pitched well. 4-1 with a .298 earned run average, the left-hander. And upstairs for ball 1. Josh Rutledge batting here for the first time and hitting in Travis Shaw's spot in the order, the 4th spot, and Travis had 2 more hits today. Had an RBI, also had a stolen base.
Well, I think he was the topic of our open. As a matter of fact, I know he was the topic of our open, and I think he's going to be the topic of our hit for NST, which we're going to have after the game.
Yep.
He is the story of camp right now.
Well, the stories today swirling around. And John Tomasi wrote about this today. Got some quotes from Pablo Sandoval. Pablo, I thought, a very classy response to the Travis Shaw threat to his job. It's very, very real. No one's backing away from it. The job is up for grabs right now. Both Travis and Pablo know about it. Not that often that an everyday job, especially on a team with a payroll as high as the Red Sox, becomes open like this. And that is ball 4, so Rutledge is aboard. And that's a very open battle. And Pablo Sandoval said, I know I have to win it. He's having a terrific spring. He's a really good player. I know I have to go out and win it. But this is really the first time over these last 24 hours that it's become, really out there like that.
Yeah, there's been some talk about it, within the confines of the Red Sox about the possibility of Shaw moving into a starting role. But yes, to become public about it, it's the first time that has happened. But believe me, there have been some rumblings for the last week and a half because Shaw's played so well.
All day the batter, a mound conference here, but 2 more hits today. And you talked about one of those was the slice to the left, but he's also made a couple of nice plays defensively. He's able to drive in a run on that play. That got Bogarts in. And then the stolen base just to add to it. So certainly looking like a guy who is adamant about being the opening day third baseman. All day checks, and it's in there for a strike.
And as we talked about earlier in the ballgame, it gives him more confidence. Not that he needs confidence, but the fact that, now I got a legitimate shot at being the third baseman on this ball club. So that's certainly a big pick-me-up here, toward the end of spring training.
All day out of Galveston, Texas. 5'11", about 190 pounds. He was with the Sea Dogs in Portland last year at the very end of the season. Played most of the year at Salem, where he hit .249. Left-hand hitter with a runner at first base. Nobody out. We're in the 8th inning. 5-3 Red Sox leading the Mets. Knocked it foul, back out of play. Rosario on deck for the Red Sox. It was good to see the starters remain in a game for 4 at-bats today. We're at that point of spring training up high where if you buy a ticket here in Florida or in Arizona, you'll get to see more of the regulars than you have at any point this spring. And that's nice.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you're at the stage right now where obviously these guys want more at-bats. And the way this thing is set up for the next 3 days, now this group, especially the starting guys like Pedroia and Holt, they'll probably go back to Fort Myers for tomorrow.
A runner that got it picked off here.
I think somebody called timeout.
Yeah, they did.
Saw the second baseman's arms go up, so apparently timeout was called previous to the pickoff.
I think all day did too. He's hitting a Chris Young spot in the lineup. Young launching a long home run in the 6th inning, a 3-run blast off a left-hander, which the Red Sox believe he's going to do a lot this season. Sox now in front 5-3, 8th inning. The spring training certainly has its own pace and the ebbs and flows of it over a long period of time. Check swing, and that is outside for ball 4. So back-to-back walks here by the lefty, and the Red Sox are pressing for more runs.
Let's see how the Sox play this. They've got a 2-run lead. Nobody out, first and second. Do they go to a sacrifice here and try to advance 2 men in the scoring position and try to build on that lead? We'll see how they play it.
Granel Rosario is from the Dominican Republic. And last season and the year before that, he was playing in Japan for Hiroshima. Hit 14 home runs there 2 years ago. Debuted in Japan in 2014 and played 2 seasons there. And down and in for ball 1. It's a wholly different fan experience in Japan, isn't it? You've got banners and chants and singing. It's more like a college basketball environment.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dave. I'll never forget our trip over there, especially the flight.
The flight fouled off the umpire.
That was incredible. I mean, were we ever going to get there? And I got to tell you, I have never been in my life so jet lagged as when we came back from Japan and we hit Toronto.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wow. I mean, it was awful. It wasn't so bad, Japan to L.A. We did okay with that. We went up to Oakland, and that was not too bad. But when we got to Toronto, I think everybody was just totally wasted. And that included the team. The team got wiped out against the Blue Jays. And I don't think I've ever felt so bad in my life from jet lag.
Down to the third, Rivera in the second, and that's all they'll get. Alday with a good job of tying up the second baseman there. So out in the middle, safe on the corners. I'm with you. I went to Japan many years ago for a Major League Baseball All-Star Tour, and coming back and getting resettled at home, I thought I would never sleep again. I thought I had such a hard time getting back into a sleep schedule. I was convinced I was the only person in the world who would make that trip and never learn how to sleep again. It was terrible.
It was so weird to get up. Like, you were getting up in the morning, everybody else at home was going to bed. I found that very strange.
Yeah.
You know, trying to make calls and do this to back home, and it was just a total. And the flight, my goodness, it was like they told us to try to stay awake the whole way over there. So I did.
Runner at first goes. Leon swings, and there's a base hit into center field. That'll bring in a run. Rutledge will score. It's kicked around by Diaza. Here comes another run in. Rosario will touch home. 2-run score on that shot by Leon, and the Red Sox open it up 7-3.
Now, it's nice to see Shan Leon get a base hit like that. You know, a guy that's not even mentioned when you talk about the Red Sox catchers, but participating here. Red Sox send the runner at first base, playing a little hit and run in the first and third situation, and it pays off. Rosario rounding third base. He gets the wave from Butterfield, and the Red Sox pick up a couple of insurance runs, make it a 7-3 game.
So Sandy, good wood on that swing. Red Sox catchers are 4 for 4 today. Hannigan went 3 for 3 with 2 singles and a double. That'll be in there for a called strike. I loved the trip to Japan when I went and got a chance to ride the bullet train and really get into some of those stadiums and experience the true culture of Japanese baseball. But, boy, you've got to be ready for the travel because it will beat you up. That is such a long flight. I thought every bit worth it, though.
Well, I did till I got to Toronto. So, you know, now that I've been there, that's enough for me. I did enjoy while I was there, but I don't think I'd ever want to go back again, just because of the amount of time you spend traveling.
Bastardo having a rough inning, and he buries that one in the dirt. I love how your first memory of your trip to Japan was, God, the travel was terrible. It was just, the flight back was just terrible. But until you experience jet lag on that level, ooh, my goodness, it's you honestly believe you'll never sleep normally again.
No, you're so out of whack, and coming back obviously to the east, and Toronto, when we were those 3 days in Toronto, I'd never in my life have felt as bad, without being sick.
Yeah.
As I did in those 3 games. And the players were the same way. They were all complaining, obviously, about the whole trip because they all felt, totally burnt out. And the season was just beginning.
Leon at first with 1 down. Marrero fouls it back into the net. Marrero now into the game at shortstop. Out of Arizona State. So Dustin Pedroia certainly has taken him under his wing. He produced some outstanding defense because Marrero can pick it too. 2-2, got a piece of it. So the Red Sox in front here 7-3. They have out hit the Mets 10-4. On a day that the Mets started one of their aces, one of their 3 aces, Noah Syndergaard. He went 5. He gave up 2 of those runs, struck out 5. He certainly looks like he's getting close to ready. for opening day. Waved at and missed. He went chasing there, and down goes Marrero. He strikes out, and they're 2 away.
It looks like Marrero there chased a fastball that may have been out of the strike zone. It appeared to be up and out of the strike zone, but the swing and no contact.
And that'll bring up Lamar for the first time.
Yeah, that ball not even a strike. Probably would have been called the ball had there not been a swing by Marrero.
So Lamar, the right-hand hitter, trying to keep the inning alive with a man at first base and 2 away. And he'll take strike 1. Ryan out of Royal Oak, Michigan. He's now been in the big leagues for just a handful of games, but as a professional, he's been around for 7 years. Last year with Cincinnati, he appeared in 21 games. He went 2 for 25 at the plate. To the shortstop and out at second base. And that will retire the side. But the Red Sox grab 2 more runs. They're getting offense out of the catcher spot today and in the middle of the 8th inning. Here at Port St. Lucie as the Red Sox set. Training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien with you. Thanks for joining us today from Tradition Field, where we have not had a drop of rain. We are delighted to report. Forecast included possible thunderstorms, but we haven't seen any of that. And it's been a pleasant day. Temperature about 80 degrees. Robbie Scott will take over on the mound for the Red Sox. His numbers in the minors last year with the Paw Sox in Portland. Actually pitched very well for the Sea Dogs at Portland, 1-1 with a 2.06 ERA. So he's the new hurler. Red Sox leading 7-3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And the Red Sox have only given up 4 hits on the afternoon. Red Sox pitching to the Mets. They have had some problem with walks, but not hits.
Matt Reynolds has stayed in the game all the way to this point. He's gone 0 for 2 with a walk and a run. Red Sox issuing 8 walks, but haven't been burned too badly by them. The 0-1. Scott is out of Florida State, which has had a very strong program. Buster Posey, J.D. Drew, among others. Jameis Winston, 2 sports star. And the 2-1 to the right-hand hitter is in tight for a ball.
A little different look that time as he drops down to the side a little bit more with that pitch. So 2 different types of deliveries from Scott.
He's Robert Scott. He goes by Robbie. Born in Miami. And the 3-1. Ground ball inside the bag and a fair ball right off the end of the bat. Down the line it goes. Tavares has to scoop it up in foul territory. And Reynolds has a double to begin the 8th inning for the Mets.
Well, perfect placement right down that first base line, and nothing anybody could do about that. Marrero was a few steps off that first base line, and he had no chance to dive for it. He can see how far he's got to go. So just a leadoff double man at second base, nobody out. As Reynolds has put in a full day today for the Mets at shortstop.
So here's Diaza as he bats in the 8th inning. He walked in the 6th inning. He became the 8th different Met to take ball for today. And he takes ball 1. Mets certainly a favorite to win the National League. And return maybe to the World Series. A little jam shot here to Devin Marrero on target with the throw. Reynolds down to third.
Well, at first it looked like a mistake by Reynolds. The ball hit directly at the shortstop, and he decides to go to third base, down by 4 runs in the game. But it ended up being a very smart play because the ball was not hit hard enough for Marrero to do anything but go to first base with it. So that was actually a pretty good read by Reynolds at second base.
Devin Marrero throwing across the diamond to his cousin, Chris Marrero, played for the Paw Sox last year. So right at third base and 1 man out. And here's Rivera. Line shot, and what a snag by Marrero. Long throw, and got him at first base.
Wow.
As the run comes in, but that's the defensive gem of the day.
Yeah, that is, Dave. That's the play of the day right there for the Red Sox. That ball was exploding on Marrero. A one-hopper that has just top spin on it and is just about by him. He's able to dive, make the play, and have a strong arm to first base to get the out. That's a great play. Marrero to Marrero. And look at that ball explode. Look how high it goes.
But Cat quick back on his feet. That was Pedroia-like. Here's Michael Conforto, 0 for 1 with a ground to third, and he rips a foul ball for strike 1. Now the Cousins getting together on the play of the day. Although Devin's end was a little tougher. Chris will say, well, I was part of it too. I mean, someone's got to catch it over there.
Exactly.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, you're only part of the good play when you make the play, right? You got to have somebody over there to complete the good play. So his cousin did it for him.
No question. 7 runs, 10 hits for the Red Sox. 4 runs, only 5 hits for the Mets. And a strike to the outside edge on Conforto, who has good power. Mets have a right-hander loosening in their bullpen. That's in there for strike 3. Frozen. Side is retired. Mets do get a run. But this was an outstanding play by Devin Marrero. He was on into the outfield before firing a strike onto first base. The end of 8, 7-4 Red Sox.
My Bob
Park, and don't miss it, the Zach Brown Band. And tickets for the show on August 31st are still available. You can go right now to RedSox.com/Zach Brown Band for the August 21 show at Fenway Park. He is a great musician. His band is phenomenal. They will blow you away. If you're a fan of Zach Brown, you're not going to miss that when he comes to Fenway Park. Hansel Robles will take over on the mound now for the New York Mets, a right-hander. Red Sox on top 7-4 as we go to the 9th inning. Robles 57 appearances last year, 367 earned run average. And a strikeout guy with 61 in 54 frames.
The opponent's only hitting 190 against Robles.
And Jansen Witt will step in next. He is hitting out of the leadoff spot where Brock Holt drove in a run today. Red Sox bringing Brock and Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts, among others, among the starting lineup. But not David Price, who is going to start this game, but because of the weather forecast here in Port St. Lucie and the forecast for thunderstorms, a possibility his start could be interrupted by rain, decided to leave him back home in Fort Myers, and he pitched against the minor leaguers in a simulated game today. Went 5 innings. And Heath Hembree was the first of many starters for the Red Sox as he went the first couple of innings today. Down low for a ball on Witt. The home run today was from Chris Young. Back when the regulars were all in the game, that was in the 6th inning. That put the Red Sox in front. They have not trailed since. Witt out of TCU. He is a Texas kid out of Arlington, Texas. And he will take low. That just missed for ball 4. Jerry, you made the point early that this young umpire, Ramon DeJesus, is certainly a hitter's umpire with a tight strike zone. It hasn't changed all day, I'll tell you that.
No, he's been very consistent back there, and that's what you look for. You know, if you establish yourself as that type of umpire, then players accept it. It's the guys that are all over the place. You know, the strike zone is roaming all day long. That really bothers players. You know, if you might not like it, but if you remain consistent, players accept it.
Now Chris Marrero here, now manning first base. Devin's cousin. His numbers from the minor leagues last year, 271 with 7 home runs. Red Sox with a base runner in the 9th and up by 3. And back he goes. Red Sox a little more than 2 weeks away from opening day on the 4th of April in Cleveland. That'll be a 3-game series. Sox will play opening day on Monday afternoon, the 4th. That's at 4 o'clock. And then have the next day off.
Well, we're going to actually have 2 days off in Cleveland. We'll be off on the Sunday before opening day. And then, obviously, after opening day. So we're going to have 5 nights. We're going to get to know Cleveland pretty well on that first road trip of the year.
Good for you. I won't be with you on that Sunday, but I know you're already planning something big.
Like what?
I'm looking. I'm trying to help you. You know, you've done the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, haven't you?
I've done that, but you know what? I want to do it again.
Got to do it again.
It's been a long time since I've done that, so that's going to happen on one of the off days.
Yep.
I would say probably the one after opening day. I think I might take a stroll over there with some of our crew because it's been years since I've been there.
It's terrific. So I've set you up for one day. You're on your own on the other one. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and a nice steak somewhere. Line shot to right. Bernardina's not going to get it. Going to bounce on by him up against the fence. Witt heading into third base. He'll stop there, and that'll be a double. And the Red Sox have 2 men in scoring position.
Well, nice to see Marrero. You know, he's at the back end of a beautiful play by his cousin, Devin Marrero. And now picks up the extra base hit to double to over the head of Bernardino out there in right field.
I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a few years ago, and they had a Beach Boys display. And I'm very fond of the Beach Boys, like them a lot. Mm-hmm. And one of the displays was Mike Love, I think, had written the lyrics to California Girls, I think it was, on the back of his notes for a geometry exam.
Really? So he was not paying attention to class, but he was getting ready to make a lot of money.
Boy. And, not studying much. He flipped it over and he wrote, and they displayed it up there. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
That's where that genius comes from. The 0-1 to Tavares is down low. Well, the band Chicago is going in as an inductee in 2016 into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Deep Purple is going in.
Well, you're up to date on your music.
Steve Miller Band, yeah. Cheap Trick is going in.
Cheap Trick.
The 1-1 checked his swing, but a strike anyway. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Another thing they had was the request list by the Rolling Stones on a tour they did in the 1970s for how they wanted their changing rooms stocked with liquor and everything else.
Right.
You wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it.
Oh, when they came to Fenway, if I'm not mistaken, this was a few years back, didn't they have the dressing room all in black? Yeah, I think they wanted that. Yeah. They wanted the whole dressing room all in black.
Right.
So these rock bands, I mean, when they go on the road, they go in style.
Oh, boy.
They get whatever they want.
Everything they want. I mean, you should have seen this list. At the bottom of the list for Keith Richards, I think, was Cheetos. The 1-2 is up and away. But they get it all. They're still touring, too. That's incredible.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones. You saw them in person.
Yes, I did. I did. I saw him in Kansas City a number of years ago, and I still have a DVD at home of a tour, actually an appearance they made in Brooklyn.
Line down the right field line. That's going to bring in 2 more runs. Tavares jumped all over it again, all the way to the fence. Witt is in to score. Marrero in to score. And now the Red Sox lead it by 5.
Now, this is great to see. Kids that don't normally get in a big league game, they're all here on this trip today, all getting a chance and participating and saying, what's so tough about the big leagues? Another ball hit very hard all the way to the wall, and Tavares in the second base. He drives in a run, so big afternoon for the Red Sox offensively.
9 runs, 12 hits. And Rutledge looking to keep it going. He walked and scored in the 8th inning. Former star at the University of Alabama. And he'll take one upstairs for ball 1.
I think when I go this time, I'm going to focus in on just 2 groups. It's going to be the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, obviously, my favorite group of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I'll spend most of my day just going through those exhibits. I think that's what I really enjoy. It's been a while. I forgot, what it was like. I'm sure they're even better now than when it first opened.
Like you can go in, and I don't know if they have this stuff there now, but you can see all the outfits that the Beatles wore from Sgt. Pepper's.
Right.
For like the album covers and everything. Just great stuff. Popped up foul back out of play here by Rutledge.
Other than that, there's not much on the docket for Cleveland except some baseball. 3 days of baseball there. And
yeah, that's a pretty light schedule for Cleveland. And then the Red Sox will be on to Toronto for a 3-game series against the Blue Jays before heading home for the first game at Fenway Park in 2016 on the 11th of April against the Orioles. That's a long homestand. 3 with Baltimore, 4 with Toronto, 3 with Tampa Bay. And then the Red Sox go to Houston. It's a very difficult schedule to begin, but you'll get a chance to see the Sox early. That is in there for strike 3. Rutledge frozen. First out of the inning. A look at that April schedule. Opening day on the 4th. Remember, that's 4 o'clock for the first pitch.
Strange times in Cleveland. 4 o'clock opener, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And then kind of normal times that we usually play in Toronto, 7 o'clock night games and 1 o'clock day games.
All of those games on Nesson, of course. A check swing all day, takes one down low for a ball. 1 out, runner at second. 2 runs in. Red Sox have scored 4 times over the last 2 innings to get some breathing room against the Mets. He checks, and that's on the outside edge. Well, today aside, the Mets are going to hang their hat on pitching. In 2016, they should be a very tough ball club and very tough staff to score against, with Syndergaard and Harvey and DeGrom as their top 3 guys.
And a lot of those guys very, very young. They're going to be around for a long time if they don't have any type of injuries that'll set them back.
Now, Harvey has already been through one, of course. A 2-1 pitch. Popped them up, foul off third base. Rivera and the catcher Monell giving it a look, but
that was not a very good effort by Rivera, the third baseman, on that, because I think if he busts his tail a little bit on that, he's got a chance to make that catch.
I agree.
I mean, he thought he was going to go out of play, and you can't make that assumption, especially with the way the wind's blowing. Watch the third baseman come over and just kind of stop. And if he keeps going, he's got a chance to make the catch on that.
Not much of an effort.
No, it was not. I think the wind caught him by surprise a little bit, or the breeze that brought that ball back into a catchable area.
You at least got to get to the railing, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to go as hard as you can until that ball is nowhere near being in the field of play.
One down, a man at second for the Red Sox on a Tavares double, which brought in 2 runs. And we see a lot of regulars today in Brock Holt and Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts, Travis Shaw in there for strike 3. So now 2 down. That was nice to see. If you're a fan and you bought a ticket today, certainly if you're a Red Sox fan, you came here to Port St. Lucie, and there are plenty of Sox fans who did make the trip. You got a chance to see Dustin Pedroia come up 4 times. Same with Brock, same with Xander. And Travis Shaw continue his push to try and land the opening day third base job, which the Red Sox admit is an open fight between Shaw and Pablo Sandoval. And Travis Shaw with 2 hits today, an RBI and a stolen base. So we'll see how the Panda counters. Pablo very open about it. He knows he's in a fight. It's not about salary. Red Sox need to win. They need to win early. No one's trying to shade that truth.
Well, there's no question, when you're playing behind a guy that's making the kind of money that Pablo's making, you say, well, they got to play him. But that's not the case here. They're not concerned about the dollars. They're concerned about performance on the field. And that's the decision that John Farrell is going to have to make come opening day.
Check swing and a foul inside the Red Sox dugout. That almost got Torey Lovullo. Some guys ducking and darting to get out of the way. John Farrell ducking as well. Torey was just to his left, and he was fortunate to get out of the way. Oh, 2 big swing and a miss for strike 3, and that retires the side. But the Red Sox had a couple of more here in the 9th inning, and now have wiggle room, leading the Mets 9-4 as we go to the Mets. Jerry is still open to suggestions about day 2 in Cleveland and just what to do, because the Hall of Fame is day 1 and ready to take your calls at any moment. Red Sox have out-hit the Mets 12-5. And Jorge Marban will take over on the mound. He appeared in half a dozen games for the Paw Sox last year, but also games at Salem and Portland, so 3 different stops in the minor leagues. Out of Miami and Florida International University. That's Mike Lowell's school, right?
I believe it was, yes.
By you? Yep. Strong baseball school. Eric Campbell lead it off. Bottom of the 9th inning here for the Mets. Red Sox trying to put a victory on ice here at Port St. Lucie. And the first one down and away for ball 1. Kelly on deck. Ty Kelly. You know, I know you're trying to get your itinerary together. High chop off third base. That's a fair ball. Went with a throw and dug out by Chris Marrero for the out. Let's bring in Garrett Austin, who's going to be joining you there in Cleveland, joining us for opening day. And Garrett, how much thought have you given to, the 2 off days? 2 off days in Cleveland.
Well, you guys, I've heard that there is one attraction you have not talked about. A Christmas Story house is actually in Cleveland. You know, Jerry, You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, that movie. Well, I've heard that somebody purchased the home and has turned it into a museum. And people have told me it's actually really cool to visit.
Been a kid with a BB gun? You'll shoot your eye out with that thing?
Let me think about that. Let me put that on the bucket list. Hopefully something else will come up.
You ever do that when someone suggests a restaurant or an attraction? You go, hopefully something else will come up. The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike at Kelly. He's 0 for 1 today. Bases empty, 1 down. Red Sox leading 9-4. Three balls and 1 strike. Another walk here would be the 9th issued by the Red Sox today.
I know one guy that loves to go to Cleveland, and that's your ex-partner, Joe Castiglione.
He does.
He absolutely loves Cleveland. He used to work there, and he's got in-laws there, right?
He does. He has family there. High pop down the line. All day with a long run. Dives, and he can't get it. Fair ball. Rolling to the warning track, and Kelly will be in with a stand-up double.
A nice effort by Allday down that left field line. I mean, it looked like he had it lined up. He goes into the dive, but goes over the glove with a 2-base hit. Nice effort, but couldn't quite get leather on it, and it turns into a double for Kelly.
Danny Munoz will now step in and bat for the first time. I enjoy going to Cleveland. People are very nice. It's a very nice town.
Oh, yeah. They are. They really are.
And, the ballpark is a great park. And in the day when the Indians were rocking and rolling and winning division titles and had that great line of talent, you couldn't get a ticket there.
No, it was full house after full house in Cleveland. And there's Joe, who just big smile on his face every time the wheels touch down in Cleveland.
And no denying that. He loves Cleveland. Worked there for quite a while. Did the Indians before coming to do the Sox. The 1-1 is inside for ball. See, Joe is exactly what I'm talking about. Joe is one of the nicest human beings you're ever going to meet anywhere. And he has that Cleveland connection. Now, he's from Connecticut.
Right.
But worked in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Still has many friends there. Pop foul, the third baseman, Whit with a play. 2 down. So the Red Sox 1 out away. And you and I will be able to stop talking about Cleveland.
Yeah, you'll be heading back to the up the coast.
Heading back to Storrs, Connecticut.
And your flight is tonight, right?
Yeah, I got a 7 o'clock.
I mean, you're unbelievable. You fly in here last night, you do a game, you fly out, you're going to have more basketball tomorrow.
Yep. I'll be down to see you soon enough over at Fort Myers. I'm already losing the little tan I have. You keep yours all through the spring training. I'm very impressed.
It's not by laying out in the sun. It's basically just like being at the ballpark. I mean, you just walk around in the sun and you get the color. But
well, you get there when the sun comes up practically, and you're there all day.
You know, I get in the habit down here. I really do. Going to bed like at 9 o'clock at night. I'm up at 5 o'clock, and I just go to the park. I've got nothing else to do.
You're a baseball man. Runner at second for the Mets. And that's in there for a called strike by Marban. So one more strike to get, and the Red Sox will have a victory here and improve to 8-12 in the Grapefruit League. Got St. Louis and the Marlins still to come on this mini road trip this week. Then the Sox are going to have a day off. 0-2 spins him around.
Good 0-2 pitch right there. You make it known that you're going to establish the inside part of the plate. Now you get a lot of options with the count 1-2.
I know what you will not be doing, and that is you will not be tuning in the NCAA tournament and hanging on every minute.
In the next 3 days?
Yeah.
Probably not, Dave. I'm sorry about that, but...
No, you're not. Swing and a miss, and this one is over on strike 3, and the Red Sox beat the New York Mets here today 9-4. That was one victory. The other was the weather held off. We didn't have a drop of rain all day, and the Red Sox beat the Mets on the strength of 12 hits, holding New York to 6. One of the hitting stars was certainly Travis Shaw, who had 2 hits and RBI and a stolen base today in his bid to win the starting job at third base on opening day. He's in a fight with Pablo Sandoval right now. So that's going to be fascinating to see these last 2 weeks. But a victory in spring training for John Farrell against the New York Mets, who many are picking to win the National League once again in 2016. Well, for my partner, Jerry Remy, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thank you so much for being with us. Charlie Moore Outdoors is coming up next. We've had a good day here at Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie as the Red Sox beat the Mets by a final score of 9-4. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.